Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Onside. Hagel tried to slide one across. It ends up with Gensel. Kucherov thought about a one-timer.
Before he was moved to the Celtics. Oh, PI! That one was from Quebec.
Thompson with a rebound. Pistons back within 7. 2:20 to play in the half. Cade spins to the rim, flips it up and in. He scored it off the square.
And down to 5 on the shot clock. Burnett creates. Mara the offensive rebound. And Cadeau finds Burnett. Does he have another miss?
Just, tough, physical, just everything that Coach Peichel has always done with his team is get them out and go out and play with unbelievable effort. And, you look at that Michigan State game where they were up double digits for a lot of that second half. And, really, I felt should have won that game. So, they're always very dangerous, especially in the rack. They, the way they play, the way they can get the crowd behind them. Obviously, early game, important to get off to a good start. But, this team's playing extremely hard, coming off the West Coast. And, I know they're going to be ready.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. DB is on sick kid duty this morning. So, Austin,
to your chagrin,
graciously decided to join us here. I see you're rocking your Carolina Panthers gear.
Well, because you, anti-Luke Kuechly fan,
I'm not
had to see one of the greatest modern linebackers in history join the NFL Hall of Fame.
Anti-Luke Kuechly.
Interesting.
I think he just maybe didn't have to be a Hall of Famer.
Okay, so you know what? Why? Why do you feel that way?
Well, I mean, we're getting into sports very early this morning.
Because you want to talk about longevity. Yeah, I've been ready for this. I've been ready for this argument.
It's not just the longevity. I have a very abstract criteria to make the Hall of Fame.
It just doesn't make sense, though.
And I'll explain here in a second. But first of all, I do care about these things because I care about Hall of Fame voting. I care about the way the history of the games that we love is remembered. It's part of the reason the Basketball Hall of Fame makes me so angry because it's nonsense. Everybody gets in.
That is true.
Antoine Jameson, I'm pretty sure, is in the Hall of Fame, and no one thinks Antoine Jameson one of the best to ever do it. He was a very nice player.
Yes.
That's all. But
don't put your basketball hate onto my football.
No, so here's the thing, though. You have to be very careful not to allow your Hall of Fame to turn into the sham that is the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Okay, fair.
Right? So you have to kind of guardrail and protect these things a little bit. So that's where I start, is I care about these things deeply. Because if you don't have some measure of quality outside of the stats, then someday people will look back and think Karl Malone is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And that's simply not true.
Oh, whoa.
Karl Malone is a very good basketball player. Seems like a very bad human being.
That's
a very good basketball player. But they're going to look at the stats and be like, oh, wow, 25 a game, 2-time MVP, and third all-time in score. And they're going to look at all these things and be like, man, one of the best to ever do it. No one who watched him thinks that. Not a soul. People will think Karl Malone is better than Tim Duncan, and that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
It's just simply not. And so that's why this stuff matters to me, first and foremost. Now, Luke Kuechly, by the eye test, you could make a very strong argument, one of the best linebackers of his era. I don't have a problem with that. But in order to try and, what's the botany term when you're cutting things off? To trim some of the, we'll use a beef term, trim some of the fat.
Yeah, so why didn't you start with that?
Pruning.
Oh,
that's what I was thinking.
Botany terms.
Yeah, prune. You're prune a plant so it grows better.
That's gardening.
Yeah, gardening is plants. Botany is plants.
Yeah, but botany is like the science of plants.
Well, I don't know, man.
Pruning's just keeping it maintained.
Why do you think they do that? Because of botany.
Wow. Okay. Jeez.
The reason
we had a small hedge of a bet of how early you would get upset with me, and it seems like we've already hit at 7 minutes in.
I'm not upset. You started the Luke Kuechly thing. This is on you.
I haven't said anything since.
I'm victim blaming here. Here's why it matters. Luke Kuechly is one of the best modern linebacker of his era.
Thank you. Yeah, you can stop there.
But
I hate a but. Well,
I'm a fan. But my criteria in order to try and eliminate some of the Antoine Jamesons from the Hall of Fames of the world. And I don't mean to pick on Antoine Jameson. He's just a very good example of somebody who had a good career that does not belong anywhere near a Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke Kuechly is better than that. I want to make that clear.
Thank you.
And it's not that I even want to die on the Luke Kuechly hill. He's just an example of what I'm talking about. You could tell the history of the game and not include Luke Kuechly, and you wouldn't miss that much.
That's just simply not true.
It is, though.
That is not true.
It is.
So do you I know one of your arguments is always longevity and how long did they do that?
Longevity is an issue here.
But do you not take into account the short-term careers and what they did?
I do.
In terms of historical impact.
But
youngest defensive player of the year in history in his second season.
Here's the thing.
Youngest all-pro linebacker.
How many all-pros did we actually get from him, though? That's the question. Because
my God, you're going to hate your own stat then.
There's like 4?
I think he had 5.
So the shorter the career, the greater the impact you have to have. That's why like Sandy Koufax in baseball is sort of an anomaly, because he had like this very incredible short career and then he retired because of elbow issues. But like that's a guy whose greatness surpassed the lack of longevity. I don't know that Luke Kuechly qualifies there. Now, again, this isn't really about Luke Kuechly. It's about caring about how we talk about sports and the history of our sports. But he's an example of where I go, okay, the defensive player of the year, that's terrific. The like youngest to do things doesn't move me that much. I don't know why. It just never has. Like, I don't care that like Con Knippel is the fastest to 100 3-pointers ever. Like, I just don't care about that type
but
of
each
thing.
one is balanced differently.
Sure,
I understand.
But like, it's not like the age things don't do that much for me, because it's like, well, did he leave college early? Was he an NFL student? Like, I just like, it just doesn't matter to me for whatever reason.
Was he a grade above his age?
He was, I'm like, did he like Cooper Flag reclassified? Like, I have no idea. Did he redshirt at Boston College? He was actually 25 when he got, like, I have, like, it doesn't, so that doesn't move me much. But the point with a Luke Kuechly type is, while he was a very good player while he was in the league, I don't feel like his greatness outshined the fact that the longevity of his career doesn't match up.
So in that same argument, why should any more NFL wide receivers make the Hall of Fame?
Well, it depends on what they've done. I can't predict what they've done.
Yeah, but by your argument that you have to like change the entire scene.
You don't have to change it. It's just you have.
So what did Larry Fitzgerald do that will get rewritten into NFL history?
Larry Fitzgerald?
Yeah.
I mean, he was on a Cardinal Super Bowl team, which is.
Luke Kuechly was on a Panthers
the best
Super
argument
Bowl
you
team.
have. That is the best argument you have.
Wow.
That is.
So Larry Fitzgerald is not a Hall of Famer to you?
No, Larry Fitzgerald is a Hall of Famer. Longevity.
That is hypocrisy at its finest. That is insane.
He's the exact opposite player of Luke Kuechly. He was incredibly good for an incredibly long period of time.
And regressed significantly in his final years?
Yeah, because it was years like 18, 19, 20. Longevity, like you just used your own argument against you.
Stop using your own. I used that first. You can't use your argument against me.
Sure, I can.
All right?
You don't have it copyrighted. I can do whatever I want.
Insane.
Like the longevity of Larry Fitzgerald outweighs the longevity / greatness ratio of Luke Kuechly. That's not even close. Luke Kuechly played like 9 years.
Yeah. And had over 1,000 tackles, 150 tackles in multiple seasons in a row.
Cool.
Wow.
How many of those? I know he has the one great Carolina team. How many of those Carolina teams matter?
Not that. I mean, obviously there were multiple years of division champions, which I know you don't care about the NFC South, but it's the hardest division in football. That's what people are saying.
No one has
It came
ever
down
said
to the
that.
last game of the year. What did you want?
Yeah, it's a battle for mediocrity.
Yeah, it literally came down to the Falcons Saints to determine the NFC South winner, which was neither of those
who
teams.
could get over 500. That one, like, that's not the hardest division of football. Closest and hardest, not the same.
I'm just saying, as someone who like was actually watching all of like most of that Panther run and all that sort of stuff too.
fine.
I think that's another part of it, because eventually we're going to get into this argument. This isn't about Luke Kuechly. This is about Lavonte David. Like, this is the argument that we're going to have, because Lavonte David will be propped up for the Tampa Bay Super Bowl, which is a great thing, right?
Yeah.
But will he get credited the way that he deserves to be? He wasn't even making Pro Bowl teams that he should have definitely rightfully should have been on.
And I think Lavonte David, and it's not just because of the Nebraska thing, Lavonte David has had a better career than Luke Kuechly. I believe that because he's done it for such a long time. At some point, that does matter. Being able, like, part of what makes Tom Brady Tom Brady is it's unbelievable how long he sustained that level. That in and of itself is part of the story of the game. Whereas, like, there's been a lot of guys that have been great for a little bit, right? Like, whether it's Terrell, running backs are famous for this.
Yes.
Terrell Davis, Priest Holmes, like Sean Alexander. You have these bright flashes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you left all those guys out of the Hall of Fame, I'd be like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And
we can't give, like, in your same example, you can't give every single 2,000-yard rusher a Hall of Fame bid.
Absolutely.
Like Chris Johnson, probably not a Hall of Famer. Jamal Lewis, not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, really bright for really short and then gone.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like.
But I don't want to use that one season sample as a reason why you shouldn't feel that guys who did it over 8 seasons and had significant stats. And also, I know the youngest thing, like, doesn't really matter to you necessarily, but in a second year, you're already earning all-pro recognition. You're already getting all of these different garners from your peers, and then you're also gaining the notoriety and recognition that your team is also playing well. We're not talking like Joe Thomas, who Joe Thomas couldn't control what was going on around him, right?
Sure.
But he's a Hall of Fame left tackle for a team that never made the postseason except for his rookie year. But Luke Kuechly was a significant contributor on multiple runs of division champions as well as multiple runs of postseason teams for the Carolina Panthers, and was an NFL Defensive Player of the Year, an all-pro linebacker multiple years in a row at his position, and injuries at the end of his career after it was in the middle. It wasn't like he missed entire seasons. He missed half of a year, and he missed chunks of his last season before he ultimately retired due to concussions.
I understand that. But that should have been the middle of his career, is my point. Like, where the injuries happened should have been the middle of his career.
I just don't think that the determination of how great a player can be should be determined because that player chose to walk away. That seems like an unfair criticism of said player.
Well, I mean, listen, a lot of things are unfair, and it's not a criticism of the player, it's a criticism of the Hall of Fame selection. Like, he was great when he was able to play, and that's awesome. But, like, the same thing is true of, like, a Gale Sayers, where you go, like, yeah, we got like 4 years out of him. I don't know what to do here.
I also never watched Gale Sayers, so I'm not going to join.
I didn't either.
So, like, I'm not going to be like Gale Sayers, like pound the table, you
right.
know, like.
And like, so Pro Bowls, I agree with the chat. Pro Bowls don't matter to me at all because
Pro Bowls used to matter, but Pro Bowls now will not. Like, I don't think you can weigh them.
No,
the same
I
don't
think you can consider Pro Bowls at all. They are the
if that's the case, Shooter Sanders on his way to the Hall of
Fame. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
that's
like,
fair.
Like Shooter Sanders and Joe Flacco were in the Pro Bowl this year. Like, what are we doing here?
No Joe Flacco slander on this show.
So, also not a Hall of Famer.
That I can agree with.
You know, so like
one more year at the Bengals, though, maybe.
Pro Bowls, I put it all the way over here.
That's fair.
Like,
that's completely
all
fair.
pros matter.
Yeah,
all pros absolutely matter. But like, at some point, like, you have to draw a line somewhere, and I don't know if the line is right before Luke Kuechly or right after Luke Kuechly.
I'm fine with it being before,
but like, I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
But my point is, there are certain types of guys that, while very, very good, and that certain fan bases or, large swaths of NFL fans in general really appreciate them, are just not like, you have to draw the line somewhere. It can't just be everybody we really like.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, otherwise you end up with the Basketball Hall of Fame and nobody cares.
So when you look down the line of like future, like first ballot, because I hate the argument of the first ballot Hall of Famer and like why it's like a different qualifier than the rest of the Hall of Fame. Like some people, I guess, like you can understand why some people deserve to be in right away. But if you're a Hall of Famer, you're still a Hall of Famer. There's no extra plaque in Canton or anywhere that says like first time, like first ballot, any of that sort of stuff, right? Like I would even argue, and I think
sometimes on the description it'll tell, like, I don't know. I think baseball does this. Where it's like, well, it's elected on their first ballot or whatever.
But I think the NFL has drawn the line. I mean, because when they posted that last night with the graphic and they had everybody on there, the Hall of Fame did. I mean, there were so many people that were saying L.C. Greenwood should be in. I mean, the list was long of people that should have been in that didn't get in, that haven't gotten in yet. And they've drawn the line. I think the NFL has.
Which is the Roger Craig argument, which officially official as of yesterday, that he is in the
which
Hall
is
of Fame.
We love to hear. And he's a great example of what I'm talking about in a guy that should be in, because like the first running back to go 1,000, like that is dynamic shifting in the NFL. Like
NFL Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
3-time Super Bowl champion.
Yeah. Like he is really hard to tell the story of the 80s without Roger Craig.
Yeah.
In the NFL.
The opposite part of that argument is, okay, well, Craig was a part of a significant team with multiple Hall of Famers on his team. How did he stand out above the rest? And
it's the first 1,000 year. Like that's the thing that you
and he's one of 3 still today to be able to do it. I think that's another part.
And he was 20 years almost ahead of it was like 15 or 18 years before Falk did it, right?
Yeah.
So like there was a huge gap, and then Christian McCaffrey got one after another pretty significant gap. So like it is an incredibly hard thing to achieve. And he also had the team success and other personal success to back it up. And then you've got this other factor of he was an incredibly versatile player even outside of that. Like the guy played fullback for some of his, like just because like, hey, that's what we need.
Yep.
Go play fullback. And he's like, dope, I got you. Like he is a very, very unique player. And I do think he qualifies under my, honestly, not a totally dissimilar career in terms of longevity and like peaks of greatness from Luke Kuechly at a different position. But because of some of the things he achieved individually, I do think he raises that standard. Now, I think they're...
Well, his 8-year run with the 49ers is what he's most remembered for.
Yes,
I don't think anyone goes Roger Craig, the Los Angeles Raider, or the Minnesota Vikings.
Shane does.
I do.
Of course, yeah. How long was he in L.A.?
A couple of years. He was there when Ronnie was there, so...
You know what? I was looking up.
Todd, I think Craig actually led the league in receptions one year.
He did, yes.
It was 92
he's
in the year that he got 1K, 1K.
He's one of 3 running backs to do it all time, and the other 2 running backs are from like the 50s. So,
yes. Yeah. So like it is like the argument for Roger Craig makes an insane amount of sense for the way I think Hall of Famers should be viewed. And again, this isn't Luke Kuechly slander. It's I think he is right on that line of how much did you actually matter to the game, not just how good you were.
And I think then this is just a snowball effect, right? Because eventually you go down the line of like, okay, well, Roger Craig was part of a lot of great 49ers dynasties. Many would argue, I'm with you, that Roger Craig was a significant part of those 49ers Super Bowls. We're going to get into this terrible debate in 2 decades from now about, well, where does Julian Edelman and Wes Welker and all these Patriots from all their Super Bowl runs, where do these guys rank in terms of like, do they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? And I will stand with you there.
Yeah.
That all of those Patriots, like receivers and all those other guys that are outside of Brady, Gronk, those guys, they don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
I would agree.
They're in their own, franchises Hall of Fames. They can be in Ring of Honors, that sort of stuff. But like Julian Edelman doesn't have anything that moves the needle on the National Hall of Fame, right? In the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I'd have to go and look to make sure on their stats, but I don't believe any of those guys had anything that rose to the level of like what we're talking about with a Roger Craig.
Yeah.
Of so significant statistically or statistical anomaly that you're like, oh yeah, they probably do. As far as I'm aware and as far as I remember, none of them have that. And I know that he was a rookie this year, but like Roger Craig led the 49ers in receptions on a team that had Jerry Rice on it. Like that's a thing.
And John Taylor. Two really good receivers.
Yeah, that's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
And so like that to me is like that's pretty significant. And Jerry Rice was literally the best receiver in the league the next year.
Yeah.
So it's not like there was this really long run up for him to become great. So
do you know Roger Craig
I'm impressed by the way you said John Taylor. Because nobody talks about John Taylor.
John Taylor caught the game-winning touchdown
against Cincinnati.
Yeah, people forget. Even though Jerry Rice kind of let him down the field the entire
Absolutely,
time.
But listen, you got to have that. You got to have your Chris Carter for your Randy Moss. You know what I mean?
That used to be back in the day.
Back in the day.
NFL Network, when they were playing, like in the summertime on NFL Network used to be the best because they would play all those classic games. I watched pretty much every single Super Bowl when I was like middle school, early high school, that sort of stuff. That was elite stuff. I like that.
Absolutely. I also really enjoy Big Ten Network kind of does a thing like that. In the
when they do the days or like
where they're like Nebraska Day or Michigan Day where they like go through. It's always funny to me because they play all these Nebraska games
for the Big 8.
Yeah, Nebraska was a Big 8 team, and they're
no Big 10.
Noted Big 10, great Nebraska.
Do you remember when Oregon and all of the Pac-12 schools joined, and they were like Oregon Day, and none of these games happened.
Yeah, it's like literally they have not competed in a single Big Ten conference. There is not anything we could show that they have a Big Ten logo anywhere to be found. But Big Ten, great Oregon and USC.
It's great to see the difference in standard. Like, you ever want to get into a blue blood argument with anyone? Just show them the Big Ten Network like days when someone's like, well, Oregon's, a rising power in the West, all this sort of stuff. And their Big Ten Network day is just semifinal wins. Like there's never a game after that. It's always, man, what happened to that team? They looked great against Florida State. Oh, well, they met a different Ohio State team that next day. That wasn't very good.
Kobe says Edelman not in the Hall of Fame, one of the clutchest players in Super Bowl. He's the Robert Horry of the NFL. That's the best way I can put it.
That's a good pull.
Like, incredibly important, not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I view Julian Edelman. That, agree, disagree, I don't, whatever. But, like, clutch only matters in the Hall of Fame argument if you already have a certain resume to get you there.
And I think it's
in my opinion,
it's like bacon, right? It just adds into your argument, right? It's not a determining factor. You got to have the rest of it.
Bacon can't be my entree. Like you can accessorize with it. You can garnish with it. You can use it as a condiment. But it can't be the only thing I've got on my plate.
Yeah, right.
Unless you're DB, but. It can't be the only thing I got on my plate. I need something else.
The older I've gotten, the less bacon I am. The less I enjoy just having it about.
I think we're doing too much with bacon.
Okay.
Do tell. I don't need bacon in my cookies.
Whoa.
People put bacon in ice cream and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've had the caramel,
the maple
salted
bacon.
Caramel. Yeah,
cookie.
Yeah.
I'm
that's too much.
You're
right.
We're doing too much with bacon. Bacon's great. It's a terrific breakfast food. Let's keep it in its lane over here.
I'm more of a sausage guy, though. I
am too, but if we're
pause.
Or on top of a burger, love bacon on top of a burger.
Okay, yeah, I'm good. I'm good with bacon on a burger. As soon as we start wrapping stuff, I feel like you're disqualifying what you're wrapping it in. Right?
Sure.
What you are wrapping something in bacon is already pretty good. I don't need bacon to add to it. Just too much.
I agree. They do this with scallops sometimes.
Yes.
Bacon wrap scallops. I'm like, scallops are really good. Please stop doing that.
Yes.
Just give me regular scallops.
That goes to show that they don't trust their scallops.
Yeah, a lot of people don't cook scallops well. It's hard. They're kind of a tricky thing to cook.
I'm never cooking scallops at home.
Absolutely not.
That's hey, I'm going out somewhere and they're gonna make me the scallops.
We're doing this on I could cook a steak at home. Well, I can't, but
I'm that same way. Listen.
Other people can cook steaks at home.
I would love to learn how to grill meat efficiently, but I've never. My fear is wasting money on food, and I don't want to eat bad food at home. So I cook what I know, and then I trust others to assist me somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my wife can cook steak because she's a chef and whatnot, but it certainly does.
Yeah.
It also enables my non-cooking, my stance of I just don't cook.
Right. Just backs it up.
She's a chef, and so even if I tried to, she'd be like, "What is this?" She'd be like, "I'd be like one of those, when a kid hands their parent a drawing, and they're like, "Oh, it's really good, honey. What is it? What is this?" "Oh, we'll put it on the fridge. It's great."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be my cooking to my wife. It'd be like, "Hey, you did so good. What is this?"
Is there anything that you make that she enjoys?
I don't think I've ever cooked for her.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
Nothing.
I don't think so. I mean, I've warm stuff up.
Outside of an
microwave.
actual cooking.
No, I haven't. That would be bad for everyone.
Okay.
That'd be like, hey, you're married to Mozart. Would you like to play some music? Not gonna do that.
Okay.
Not gonna. It's a bad idea.
That's a high grade you've just given.
She's very good at what she does.
That's fair. Yeah.
Very good at what she does.
I'm the trad wife in my relationship, so I just I cook, I clean, do everything. So.
Well, she's the breadwinner.
I know. I just try to go home and look pretty. That's all I try to do. She's like, "Why don't you get a job and go out and stay busy?
Why don't you keep yourself entertained?"
She will do that sometimes. We'll be home doing something, and it'll be 5:45. We've got no plans the rest of the night, and I'm bugging her. She's just got off work. She goes, "There any games you can go to tonight?"
You're kind of doing a lot right now.
Yeah, right.
Is there any...
The worst was in the fall. She knows it's pretty much Thursday, Friday football, right?
Yeah.
And then
sometimes
some Husker stuff, Hail Varsity postgame, that sort of jazz. It'll be Tuesday, and she's like, "Is there any volleyball going on?"
Is any games on tonight? No. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna be home all night? Oh, okay.
You don't want to go to the gym or anything by yourself? No. You don't want to take Ava for a walk?
She'll do that. She will send me on a walk with Ava. She'll be like, "Why don't you guys get out of the house?" Well, are you sure you don't want to come? No. I don't. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Have a lovely night.
Alex says AJ is the trophy wife. Yeah,
I 100%
basically.
Just trying to look as good.
Yeah.
Try to be as good. All that good
gotta
stuff.
keep the physique intact.
It's tough. I feel like the wives in Landman, where I'm just constantly working out, so that way What?
Then you come home. What y'all want for dinner?
Yeah.
We're going to do seafood.
I've always got a crock pot out. I'm always crock potting.
Big crock pot guy.
I do like a crock pot because, we're gone for long hours of the day.
Sure.
I like the idea. I think it's partly torture, but I do like the idea that my dog gets to take in the aroma, but then she never gets to, enjoy it.
Yeah, that's actually kind of mean.
Well, she always gets some, but that probably would be torture, that you have this super smelling ability.
Yes.
And all day.
And you're like, this smells incredible. I don't get any of it. I can't access this at all.
Yeah.
I can't access it at all.
We got to send David to the dentist.
TK, to be clear, we love bacon. I don't need it in everything.
Yeah, it's doing too much.
I don't want bacon in my desserts as a starter. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Why doesn't bacon take an off season? And then when it comes back, we'll enjoy it more. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I want to be surprised by bacon a little bit.
Can it be more like a bacon bit?
I mean, like
instead of actual bacon,
like a salad. Sure.
I would see like the bacon bits in the bag are the cheapest form of an already cheap cut of meat. Like that's insane and ridiculous.
Somebody from our very own Hurrdat Sports.
What the hell is this?
This is thinking of Austin hosting themed dinners weekly is sending me. What would your themed dinner be? Like if you were having hosting a dinner party, what would your theme be? That's not a theme. That's an entree.
So when I was in high school, and we do the is that a thing? Like in Omaha, do people do grad parties and stuff?
Yeah, we do graduation
parties.
Gotcha.
I didn't know if it was like a smaller town.
No. It's a thing.
Okay, so when I was doing my grad party, 2016, 10 years ago, my mom was asking me. She was like, "Hey, what do you want to do for like food for your grad party?" And I said, "Wouldn't it be sick if we did like a starch fest where we just had all different forms of potatoes?" She goes, "No one's going to eat that." And I was like, "You're not hearing me. We're talking baked potatoes. We're talking French fries. We're talking tater tots."
So basically, you're a hobbit.
That's Shane. Sorry, Shane. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
His feelings were hurt and he started lashing out. No.
I think the great ones complain about a hair in a shit sandwich.
That's beautiful.
Brent says you can split Brady's career into 3 separate careers and he's a Hall of Famer in all 3.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably accurate.
Kobe and I are both class of 2016. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I think it's Jose in the chat has also mentioned that he knew of people that partied at my double wide trailer in Kearney, which is very concerning. That's a part of my life that needs to be like shelved and put back.
I know. There's a story I've almost told about you like 100
What
times.
story haven't you told about me?
No, there's one that I have protected you from, and I will not publicize it.
Oh, wow.
But
Tyrone's fine?
Yes.
That one's been fine.
This is worse than Tyrone, I think. I mean, it depends on your...
Is it the one you were texting about yesterday? Is that the one?
No.
Okay.
No. It's pretty bad. Well, I think it's bad. I don't know where it ranks on your like embarrassment scale.
Look at TK. TK just wants all the dirt.
Yeah.
All the dirt.
I'll tell you off air, and then you can tell me if I can share it or not. Because it's one of my favorite Austin stories, and I have no one to tell.
So you just want to share it to all your friends? Just let it all out?
Yeah. Just let all our friends on Hurrdat Sports Live know.
Thousands of our closest people that we know.
Exactly.
And like somebody's random parents. That's always the best part.
My parents.
I like when I go to cover an event. Like I was at Nebraska wrestling against Iowa a couple weeks ago.
Alex says you're the Bubba Gump of potatoes.
Okay, I think I'm okay with that.
They were highly successful.
Yeah. I want a potato ship like he had.
A potato boat.
Yeah. I could AI that where like I'm in charge of a potato boat.
Captain on a potato boat.
It's like the Jack Sparrow where he's in the desert with Black Pearl behind him. That'd be me with my potatoes. Yeah. Anyway.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I do like being out on a coverage and people will come to me and be like, "Yeah, I love listening to Ravi and Damon talk about all of your fun stories." I don't like it when I'm sitting back in the office producing
without a microphone
with no chance to defend myself. And Ravi's just going, "Oh, you're like Austin Tyrone?" Which I immediately regretted.
You did. I have to give you, as soon as it came out of you, it was like an involuntary response. And you're like, "Oh, why did I do that? That was terrible." It's like when you think something and you're like, "Oh, what? No, I don't think that at all. Stop it." You're like, knock it off.
I was working. We were talking some prep stuff one time between me and Sautter, and I can't remember what. I think I sent something before he could. And he was like, "Oh, he beat me too." And I was like, "I do be quick with it." And he goes, "Oh, wow, you've really changed since you moved to Omaha." Then I proceeded to tell him that I was like, yeah. Like when I go back to like my family Christmases and stuff in Broken Bow, I immediately get called like a Dem. They're just like, "Oh, this guy went to college and he lives in Omaha. You're not one of us anymore."
Radicalized.
That's what happened.
SkyMix says bacon potatoes. Potatoes are a good vehicle for bacon. Yes. I agree.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Almost all for. I mean, like
high fat starch.
Bacon
works.
cheese fries.
Mm-hmm.
Those are terrific. On baked potatoes, bacon's a good ad. Got to be real bacon, not bacon bits.
The cheese is very important, though.
Absolutely.
I can't have like
you can't go dry on dry,
and I can't go like nuclear cheese like from like a can or something like that immediately like sticks to all the fries. I want it to be able to separate and pull.
Yeah, I need like a little bit of a flow.
Yeah,
it can't be too congealed.
My flow state of cheese.
Yeah, my cheese flow state. Kind of need I think that's a good call, Sky Max. Potatoes and bacon are a good combo.
Yeah.
TK and Kobe are fighting about fraternities in the chat.
This is very funny.
I don't really know what's
We
happening.
actually haven't had a good chat fight in a while. I'm not saying you should, but like.
Oh no, we had one yesterday. A couple days ago. Somebody was Kobe and TK and Alex. I think were hammering.
Oh, everyone was
Jimmy.
ganging up. Yeah, that's right.
Jimmy,
that is right. Yeah, never mind. I take it back.
They were hammering Jimmy the other day.
I don't like when the chat interfights with the regulars, but I do like it when the chat gangs up on a new member of the chat.
I do.
That's always fun.
One of my favorite things.
And once you survive that, then you're in.
Yeah, it's kind of like you get jumped into a gang a little bit. I do appreciate when somebody that comes in and like doesn't totally understand the show is like, why aren't you talking about more football? And the chat's like, hey, they talked about it for 2 hours. Chill. We're having fun right now. And they just like piranhas. It's my favorite thing.
This was a big one too when the original Dayton news came out when he had decommitted.
Oh,
you guys hit it literally for the first time ever in the first 10 minutes of the show.
Yes.
And then someone joined in the chat at like 9:30. They're like, hey, breaking news. You guys see this Dayton? Everyone in the chat immediately was like, they covered it at 7.
Start at the top of the show.
Back it up.
90 minutes ago, noob.
Back it up.
Alex was Hurrdat, son. Gang, gang. Apparently, Kobe and TK are not fighting. They're good.
That's good.
They're good.
I think we're the last two that would fight with each other. I'm team TK for that. Very
See,
nice.
That's why I need to draft both of them. I think they get along well. They got good team chemistry.
That's right.
I don't think Kobe's as volatile as DB makes him like want to seem. You know?
I think it's because Kobe uses capital letters.
I know. I
think that's what it is.
I think it throws DB a little bit.
Because it's like like that's the shouting part of his argument, right?
DJ says, "Hey, Austin, remember when you're drafting your team to include the 65-year-old broken down white guy in the 308."
Well, Dave was.
I'll say
the guy that I replaced.
I'll say he wasn't your boss, right?
No,
you replaced him.
I replaced him.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he retired. That's why they didn't like bring me in.
They were like, "We got this new guy. Get out, old man." Phantom Husker DB's got on sick kid duty. So
yeah, I would. His argument about walking to North Platte was insane.
I mean, I think
because we seem to forget that. Well, maybe DB's he's built different and he doesn't sleep. But like 24 hours in a day is not 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, like,
right? Like
you can't walk for 4 consecutive periods of 24 hours.
Right. Yeah,
that was my point.
That's what like Apple Maps will tell you. Be like, yeah, if you just walk for 4.5 days, you'll get there. It's like, well, it doesn't take any amount of rest possible.
Yeah, like I get that he doesn't sleep much, but after walking for like 16 hours, you're probably gonna nap a little.
A little bit tired.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Take a little. You know, take a little load off.
So that'd be pretty tough. Like if you started walking from Omaha, you get to Lincoln, and then you're like, okay, I'm still gonna make it to North Platte. There's a lot of space between there.
Yeah,
like, that's a pretty big mile marker to hit the beginning to
like,
not have one. There
I
for
made
a while.
it to Lincoln, and now it's like 200 miles to Grand Island or Kearney or wherever's next. I don't. You know.
I wouldn't want to do that. I don't know. I don't know the mileage between towns. I'm not about. I know hours between town. I can't give mileage.
Yeah, I don't either. Ken says, okay, I'm relatively new. Who wants to have a go? Ken, you seem like you get the show though, so I think you're okay.
I want Dane Coyote to go after Ken. That's who I want. Get after him.
DJ just really wants to get drafted. Now he's trying to sell himself to Rico.
Well, Lil Dave is probably the second best loper on Hurrdat Sports Live, to be fair. Like behind me. I mean, prompted by Coach Ryan Held of all things too.
That's true. Yeah. He messaged you, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. He just wanted to make sure the segment was good.
No, it was great. Yeah. It was great talking to Coach Held yesterday.
I think it'd be great to, give a little D2 love out there too. But then here's the problem is then we get into this like endless wasteland of like people are like, oh, what about my Wayne State Wildcats? Oh, what about these guys?
Yeah, somebody messaged me at one point, and listen, this is not shade to any of these sports. Listen, I coach NAIA ball. Like I understand it's a super good level of play, and like it's important and it matters to a lot of communities. We have a limited amount of time, and we kind of have to like aim for the things that people. And also, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not like out watching NAIA volleyball. Like that's not in my wheelhouse.
Fair. Good point.
Like that is not in the lexicon. So I could be like, hey, this team's really good, and that would be the end of my analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So not necessarily a great,
but still, I thought it was very interesting everything that Held had to say too, just about like.
So that's different. That's why that one was different, because I thought, and the same reason we talked to Dan Jackson, we're gonna actually talk to him again next week.
Is he in town?
I don't think he's in town again, but we'll get him on the stream. I think there's a really interesting thing happening in college football in general that they can speak to from a different side of things than like a Coach Rule can or a Dr. Elza can or things like that. So like they are both local-ish, right? Obviously Dan Jackson's up at South Dakota State, but
recruits local.
And he's got ties here. And obviously you've got Ryan Held at UNK, but they bring something else to the conversation that we're very interested in on kind of a larger scale.
And
right?
I think a lot of times that we as Division I, especially college football fans, just assume, because we've been told it many times, right? That like, well, NIL is going to ruin such and such part of the sports, and the transfer portal is going to ruin X, Y, and Z of the sport. And how will these lower schools be able to? And if you don't ask the questions to the people who are actually in the situations, you'll never know. And I thought that the most enlightening part of that entire thing was when Held said, yeah, sometimes guys will tell me that they're getting calls from coaches that have never talked to me before. I found that very interesting. And he had framed it in the way talking about like his program being like, you don't want to know how this guy like operates inside of my program. Like you don't want to know anything about that. But I thought it was very interesting just because it comes across as more, and I'm sure this happens many times at the Division I level, and Rule can probably speak on this too for the people. I assume the people that Rule brings into his program, he's doing his homework on.
I would guess it happens way more at the Division I level.
Because you see a guy, you see a need you have, and you go, okay, who's a guy that we might have any type of connection to or have a phone number of? We got to reach out to that guy, and we got to get a hold of him as soon as we can because we got to plug X, Y, or Z hole on our roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think they're also – I feel like it's much more cutthroat with the Division I team. So it's kind of like, hey, if I can get this agent connected here, and like I don't think they're checking references. You know what I mean? And maybe they should. They might be calling high school coaches, but typically you're not calling somebody's sitting head coach because most of the time, let's be honest, you're tampering. So that'd be awkward. To call someone sitting head coach and be like, hey, is this guy a good practice player? Is this guy a good teammate? Like that's not really, and maybe that's part of the problem where you see some of these transfers just not work out is because there's not a lot of due diligence being done. But I do think it's really interesting at the Division II level, not just what he said about guys not doing their due diligence, but also I thought it was fascinating where he's like, I'm going to be honest, man, it's been great for us because he's got access to guys that he he himself said he wouldn't have had access to
100%
that in the past. And it's because rosters are filling up in different ways at the Division I level, at the FBS level, and then that trickles down to the FCS level, and then that trickles down to the Division II level. So you end up with a guy in your recruiting class like an Urban or a Zek, and you go, well, holy crap, or a Brigham, and you go, holy crap, these are good players. These are guys that in previous years either would have walked on at Nebraska, would have gotten a look at like a South Dakota State or a North Dakota State, or like maybe even like a Wyoming. That's kind of how Craig Bohl got things up and running at Wyoming after he left North Dakota State. He's like, well, if these guys can play at North Dakota State, I think they can play at Wyoming, and he was right. And so, like, that part of it is fascinating to me because we focus a lot on how bad the transfer portal is or appears to be for the Division I and the highest levels. And I don't think it's bad. I think it's chaotic, right? But in the chaos, there's going to be opportunities. And my goal kind of through these conversations has been like, okay, I want to find the people who might be able to take advantage of these opportunities. I want to talk to them to see what it's like from that side of things. Because I am fascinated by that.
And I like the thought of it, too, that it applies to us locally because we want to see, obviously, the in-state kids be able to get to programs that are in-state, have success, all that other stuff, too. But I covered Held when I was in KGFW in Kearney. And when he first got there, one of the things that he talked about was we have to be able to get Kansas City Metro kids, and we want them to be able to, kind of grow this little recruitment base that we have here at UNK. And he was like, I'm also willing to take not chances necessarily. I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but he basically said something along the lines of, I'm willing to take on very talented kids because it makes our program better, but we're still going to have like the standard. And he had said that yesterday as well. And I think that that's now coming into fruition too, because of the portal, because of everything else that goes in. And obviously we'll talk to Tim in 18 minutes or so, but he mentioned it last week that high school recruitment is on a rebound, that people are starting to say, hey, listen, we can start to develop high school kids again and supplement with transfer portal talent, that sort of stuff, where when the portal first opened, everybody was just saying, how can I get as many guys on my team that are seniors, juniors, and experienced guys here? But now we're starting to see it kind of, I think, balance out a little bit, which is for the better.
So I think that this is, again, one of the things I'm fascinated by is, and Tim talked about this last week, the economics of this are really fascinating to me, right? Because you look at transfer portal guys, and yes, there are some of them that have super high levels of production and have a great track record, and they're just looking for the next better opportunity. That's your, like Dylan Gabriel. like he's a good example of this. Probably didn't have, I mean, I don't think of much of him as an NFL prospect despite where he got drafted, but had really good career at UCF, moved to Oklahoma, had a good year at Oklahoma, moves on to Oregon. Like that sort of makes sense because he had production and proven production at each kind of stop. A lot of these guys aren't that, and they're still very expensive.
Yes.
Like a lot of these guys, while they've been in college for a couple years, you're paying a premium for amount of experience that doesn't make sense with the investment.
Yes.
Whereas, like Tim said last week, it's generally cheaper to acquire high school players. It's more of an unknown, but let's be honest. I've looked at a lot of the guys, not just in Nebraska transfer portal class, but also in other people's transfer portal class. They're like, oh, yeah, we got this guy. He was a 4-star 3 years ago. We're really excited about him. It's like, yeah, he hasn't played at all.
Yep.
I mean, we think of, and this is a testament, I think, to the defensive staff that was in Nebraska at the time. But like I look at like an MJ Sherman. He was a pretty touted recruit, went to Georgia, obviously, but outside of special teams, had not really produced at Georgia by the time he came to Nebraska. Now then he comes to Nebraska, takes about a year, and then ends up being a pretty good player here. But like you're still investing in someone that is largely an unknown at the thing you're asking them to do.
Yeah, very rarely are you getting a very solid, we know exactly what it's going to be, all that stuff.
There's not that many, even Fernando Mendoza, right, who DB was very high on. But, like, look at what he actually did at Cal. I think it's like a 15-6 touchdown interception ratio, which, like, that's fine. But you don't look at that and you're like, that guy's winning the Heisman next year.
Yeah.
He
was a graded, well-draft prospect at the time. Like, he had a lot of those accolades, but nobody pointed – and, again, this is the Indiana part of it, but it is the Cal part of it and Fernando Mendoza part of it, where nobody pointed right there and, like you said that's the Heisman Trophy frontrunner.
Absolutely
right there.
not.
As soon as he landed in Bloomington, everyone, that's the guy. That never occurred.
Yeah,
Did not happen.
So it was 16-6. My apologies. He threw over 3,000 yards. Like he had a nice year.
Yeah,
but going 3,500, 41 touchdowns, 6 picks, national title, Heisman Trophy, like that wasn't what you see when you see a guy from Cal that had a nice year as a sophomore, right? But he was a pretty highly touted guy in the portal. Whereas even like a guy that has a ton of production, like a Carson Beck, we look at and we go, eh.
Right.
And he made a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but Carson Beck is sort of on the higher end of what you get in the transfer portal, and most people weren't that excited about that. Most of the time, outside of the top handful of guys, you're going and getting guys that do not have production either at the level you're at or at the scale of what you're asking them to do. You have a lot of like Jared Verses of the world who went from Albany to Florida State, highly productive at Albany, but it's Albany, it's not Florida State. And then he comes to Florida State and he's really, really good, gets drafted in the first round. He has a great year, right? But there's a lot of that. There's a lot of super highly touted guy that hasn't produced yet. Now he's trying to find a better spot. And then there's kind of these middle range guys like Mendoza. And I think this is where Dylan Raiola falls in. Had a pretty good year, was having a pretty good year before he got injured. And now he's kind of in this, not no man's land, but he's sort of in this in-between spot of probably didn't get the offers he wanted to start at national title contenders. I'm guessing that's what he wanted. That's what everybody wants, right? And then probably couldn't get the equal money that he was getting at Nebraska from most places because he was more valuable at Nebraska because of his last name than he would be anywhere else. And so you kind of have like, okay, so where am I deciding what's important now?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys fall in that range. And so if you're at that point and you're like, well, I can pay this guy whatever. I don't know what Dylan's making at Oregon.
Right.
Say half of what he made here is, so it's like mid ones or something, right? You sit there and you go, okay, do I want to pay that guy somewhere $1.5, $2 million, $1 million, whatever it is? Or it's like, I can go get this high school guy who all of a sudden has less options because Miami doesn't recruit high school quarterbacks anymore. And it doesn't really like Alabama's really recruiting. Like, you have all these schools that aren't really recruiting high school quarterbacks anymore. And so he's got fewer options of blue blood national title contender programs to look into. And you go, well, maybe I take a shot at him. Maybe he's worth the $500,000 or $1 million or $1.5 million when I have an actual shot to try and develop and maybe keep him with a relationship as opposed to bringing in. And that's the other sneaky thing about this. High school recruiting you actually get a chance to get to know a
Yes.
kid and
Yep.
his family and what he's about.
Because it's not a 2-week window period that
transfer
and
portal,
8 other coaches are contacting.
Unless you also recruited them in high school, which does happen a decent amount of the time, you're sitting here and you go, well, he seemed cool on his visit. I hope this works out.
Yeah.
And you have no idea.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there and you're going, I hope I didn't just recruit somebody that's a cancer to my program.
And then this is where having your GM and having your program set up is so, so important, because you have to be able to not only know the personalities, be able to figure that out, but in this world of all the transfer portal, everything else that comes into it. And you mentioned kind of what Dylan's money and, monetary, all that other stuff that comes into it too. There are going to be guys that enter the portal that are entering specifically because I feel my value is this, and I'm only being paid this. But then does your tape match what you feel your worth is? And I think the Carson Beck example is a great example, because I even groaned about it when he was moving on. Sometimes we see a guy so much, and maybe this is also a Dylan factor because of how Nebraska feels about Dylan and compared to the national standard, right? That sometimes you see a guy so much and you see all of his warts and you forget about some of the high points and what he does well, that you can only focus on that.
This was my argument for Carson Beck last year.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then when they move on and they do something else, or they're going to another program, or they're getting paid an X amount of dollars, everyone has an opinion, or you have a poor perception of what this player is because you have seen too much of him. It's almost the NFL draft issue, right? Because I think of all the USC quarterbacks from back in the day. I mean, Barkley's a great example where he was a perceived #1 overall draft pick.
Came back a year.
And then was there too long.
Second round.
Yep.
Yeah. Same thing. I think Jimmy Clausen had a very, very similar thing with Notre Dame. This happens in the NBA draft all the time, right? They're obsessed with guys that have played 1 year and produced nothing at all, because they're like, but look at the upside.
Yeah.
And they look at a guy that's been scoring 20 a game for 3 straight years, and they're like, maybe we'll take him in the back end of the first round.
We know his ceiling, right?
It's like, we know what it is. It's fine. It's like, well, I'll be honest. Those guys elevate as often, if not more often, than the guys that you just are like, oh, blank slate. Let's see what happens. Like, you got these Jalen Brunsons and Austin Reeves and Dante DiVincenzo's, and you're like, I guess Vincenzo was a shorter college career guy. But Josh Hart is a good example where you just go, oh, I didn't know that was going to be what his NBA career looked like. I mean, how many people thought, I get Ryan Kalkbrenner's numbers don't jump off the charts to you, but how many people looked at Ryan Kalkbrenner and be like, no, he can't play in the NBA.
Exactly. And they called him a tweener. They said he didn't have a true position, all that other stuff, but yet he was uber successful and had great tape and all that other stuff.
And as a rookie, he's playing 20 minutes a game, putting up 9 and 6 or something.
And played NBA talent when he was in the Big East.
Yeah.
There's many times that he performed well.
He's shooting 70% from the field right now.
Pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And so there is this, hey, we either this balance between we've seen too much of them versus, oh, look at all this upside. It's such a weird dynamic in not just college sports, but in kind of the draft process as well. So yeah, I really, really find the whole Division II FCS part of this fascinating, because all of this, and I would love to talk to Coach Strohmeyer again as well from Iowa Western, because he's sort of the other part of this equation too, where it's like, okay, everybody's trying to find because everything's gotten way too expensive, right? Rosters have gotten way too expensive. This is not sustainable for most programs.
Yeah, remember when we were just in a facilities arms race? That was fun.
Yeah.
I kind of miss those days.
I know. Facilities arms races were the best. Now that gets you an entire new facility buys you 3 years of a roster.
Yeah.
And so you look at it and you go, okay, everybody's going to be looking for the market inefficiency, right? Everybody's going to be looking for the guy that you can get that can play that doesn't cost you what everybody else costs you.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to moneyball this thing.
100%. And so I look at it and I go, at some point that feels like where JUCO steps in.
Yeah.
It feels like JUCO will be the place, I think, where not only some of these high school kids are going to go and say, well, hey, I don't necessarily want to go D2. I don't necessarily want to go FCS. Let me try the JUCO route. And then not be for an academic issue, which is why a lot of guys have, especially in the last 10, 15 years when JUCO became less popular. Yeah. But you look at that and you go, okay, I don't want to go those other routes. I'm going to go the JUCO route. I'm going to go play for a guy that's really a really, really good coach, whether it's Coach Stroh or some of the other good JUCO coaches out there. And I go, hey, I'll take my chances there. That's the place where I think you could probably start to go get good players and not have to pay the premium for them that you do in the transfer portal, and you have to on the high end of the high school market,
Mhm.
not to the same degree as the transfer portal. Like JUCO sort of seems like that in between where it's like, I have a little more information about them. And especially if the Diego Pavia becomes a rule for everyone.
That's a huge one, yeah.
Where the JUCO years don't count, then that's going to be maybe I'm exaggerating, but then I feel like you're going to get a JUCO arms race where these programs are basically minor league systems for power conference programs.
And again, it was
to
something
just feed guys in.
It was something you and DB talked about. You didn't talk about it obviously with Stro, but it has been somewhat of the unspoken thing is why has that pipeline not been a one-way access? But listen, you build those relationships, you make it work. They almost had one. Obviously some different issues arose when they weren't able to land a defensive tackle during that JUCO window or whatever you want to call it. But you start building and you get ready for what that is turning into. And if high school kids that are talented but aren't seen on the Division I or Power 4 level go to these JUCO programs, get developed, become better players, and then are willing and ready to move on, that's going to be your one-spot shop to be able to kind of pick up a lot of these players. And also, on that same everything you just had, they also don't have the monetary number next to them either.
100%. Like that's where I think like the market inefficiency comes in. And now, if all of a sudden the JUCO years don't count, that's going to swing a different direction.
Yeah,
and
right.
Going to be those guys are going to get more expensive and things like that. But
because then you're just buying mercenaries. That's what you're doing. Like, you're just looking for guys who can
maybe
plant and then move on.
Maybe, but I honestly, if you're looking at guys that if across the board, and it looks like that's the way it's going to go because the NCAA and the NJCAA have nothing to do with one another, except for this agreement. It's like your years count. Cool. But they're not the same organization, right?
Yeah.
So there is, and it's the same thing with NAI. Like you can make the argument that NAI years shouldn't count against you, and you don't see that nearly as much, but it is a thing that happens. Like Jalen Gramstad probably could have sued and been like, "Hey, I want to play 4 more years at Nebraska," and would have been hard to say no because it's the same rule with the same argument the JUCO thing. So if that becomes a national rule and not just these one-off injunctions that we're seeing, that to me is going to be a place where JUCO becomes super, super valuable. But you could look at those guys as still developmental guys.
Yeah.
You're just getting them a little further along in the process.
Yeah.
And so I even view that, I don't even really even view that as mercenaries. I view that as high school plus. And then the transfer portal would still be
a soft red shirt, one might say.
Yeah. Get 2 shots, maybe even 2, right? Soft red shirts.
And older rosters. I mean, we saw it this year.
Yes.
And this isn't just an Indiana thing, but
older rosters are valuable.
3 of the 4 teams in the national semifinals were 3 of the oldest teams in college football. And that matters.
And you saw this shift a little bit as well in college basketball, where the older, more experienced teams, even if they're not necessarily experienced together, although that helps, have especially, and this started way earlier in basketball because of the one and done thing, and all of the talent rush for Duke and Kansas and all those teams to go get the one and done guys, but this shift towards, I mean, look at Florida last year.
Yeah.
Look at those UConn teams. Those were older teams. Look at those Villanova teams. Those were older teams.
Virginia. Yeah.
Virginia, older team. Some of these really, really good teams over the last 10 years or so, you look at it and goes oh, that team's pretty old. And that team, and you're talking about maybe one guy who's a one and done in all of those groups. And it kind of seems like that's the way college football is trending as well. Football has always been kind of a sport where it's hey, you kind of need to be older, but now they've got the stressor point of it's hard to be old now.
Yep.
It's hard to have experienced teams now because of the player movement. That's a stressor they didn't have before, and now it's going to be really interesting to see who can put together good experienced rosters and how many different ways can you do it? Is it a Miami thing where it's just we get old, we stay old, we'll buy our roster every year, we're cool? Is it appearing what Nebraska wants to do where it's hey, we're maybe going to kind of have swings and then kind of come back down young again and then swing back up? That sort of seems like the way Nebraska wants to build it. And obviously you hope the dips get higher and higher and higher as you raise up. But that's Creighton women's basketball is a great example of this. That's how Jim Flannery wants to do it. He's going to get all his young women in there. They're going to take all their warts.
Yep.
Neely Gessert's not taking very many warts anymore. She is just dosing people. dicing people up is what I
Yes.
meant, not dosing people. I don't know what that means.
But exactly what you were saying. Last year's Creighton's
Super old.
roster, very old. Morgan Malley had been there
Yeah.
for a long time. Lauren Jensen had transferred in from Iowa after 1 year, but she had played for 4 years at Creighton. They had plenty of talent that had been there for a long time. They knew that this year was coming. This was not a surprise. They didn't end last year in April and just go, oh, crap, where did everybody go?
Yeah.
Like, they knew this was coming, and this was their response in reloading, and they're arguably ahead of schedule.
Yeah, they're coming up. Nebraska's another good example of this in football. I think they're a little ahead of the curve with the 2027 class because as people now, as you mentioned, are starting to mentally shift back towards high school, Nebraska's got a head start on this next class.
Yeah.
Where if you were sort of like in the transfer portal game super heavy, you're behind on a lot of these relationships.
Yeah.
Like you're behind on the 2027 relationships. You're behind on probably the 2028 relationships. I know like 2 years ago when Nebraska was putting out 2027 offers, it's like, hey, could we be better sooner than that, please?
Yeah.
That'd be great. But now you're starting to see some of that come to fruition as Nebraska's currently a top 5 class. And everybody you talk to is like, yeah, we're trying to have the best class in the country this year. And it seems like they have a head start on some of these guys.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to keep looking at the positive and you want to be a part of like the negative Nebraska fan base and you want to like look towards that future too, if 2027 hits and they change the trend of all these high-level high-level recruits that transfer out of their program, that's a damn good roster that moves well past 2027.
Absolutely. Tim VERGHESE coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, night before was tough. I think during the night, I think I threw up about 15 times. So, I couldn't hold anything down. No water, no food, no nothing. During the day, just try and feel as good as possible. I think they gave me 2 IVs before the game to just get some sort of fluids in me, but couldn't even hold that down. Try and go out there and warm up, but there was nothing in the tank. So wanted to play really bad, but if there's nothing in the tank, then I also don't want to hurt the team by being out there. So just made the decision that it wasn't responsible to go out there.
I was joking because when we were watching film the other day, I found a clip where Neely actually screened for Nora in a game. I think it was the Georgetown game, and I said to Nora, I said in front of the team, I said, Nora, did that happen in 4 years at Millard West? Did Neely ever screen for you? But you see the way Neely shoots it, and you better screen for her. And I said in the pregame, one of the things that makes her so lethal, I think, is just she can shoot it off the move. Like she can come off, Kennedy and Neely are probably our 2 best shooters, but just the ability of Neely to catch it on the move and get it up as quickly as she can, I think is pretty rare. And so, it was fun to watch.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back. Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Tim VERGHESE from inside Nebraska. Tim, how are we doing this morning?
Hey, how we doing? I just texted DB because I did my homework like DB asked me to, and I don't. DB's not here.
Yeah,
brutal. Sorry to see you too. My bad.
No, it's good to see you, Austin.
He got a sick kid, so he was on but
that is very funny though. DB assigns homework and then is late for class.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You think DB's the type of teacher that roll the TV out like on Fridays? He'd be like, I'm not feeling it today. I feel like he could.
I'd be
what the hell?
I'd be a big rolling TV out teacher.
Yeah, I can tell you what.
I'm good here.
Yeah.
I got to do some game planning today. You guys can watch a movie.
Hey, Tim, speaking of game planning, we were just talking about a little bit with how JUCO, D2, all that kind of stuff would relate, and some of the comments that you had said a couple weeks ago about how there's kind of been a turn in high school recruitment, maybe making its return to higher end college football, people prioritizing that a little bit more. It got me thinking about what maybe outside of Nebraska, maybe just what, and maybe this is different between coaches and philosophies and how they want to build their rosters, but what do you think is the percentage of high school recruits, transfer portal, maybe JUCO in there too, that a roster in college football needs to be kind of built upon for success, I guess, kind of moving forward in the modern era of college football?
Yeah, I mean, I think you made a good point there where I think it kind of very much depends on the program and the philosophy. But I think JUCO is one of those things where it's the smallest piece of the pie when we're talking about this, just in terms of like, okay, if there's a right fit, we'll assess those ranks. But like programs are really banking or accounting for JUCO spots every cycle. Maybe like even some programs used to pretty much account for 5 to 6 maybe spots every year for the JUCO kids, and they don't really do that anymore. I would say those spots, I would say every program at this point has like 5 spots, I would say ish, 5+ spots available for the portal. Obviously, as you've seen, programs typically operate and land more than 5 and work to add more than 5. I think a good ratio moving forward in terms of estimate, it's like right around 20 high school kids, right around 10 transfers. And again, where programs stand on that, it's somewhat of a sliding scale. Some are closer to 15 and 15. Some are closer to 10 high school and 20 portal. So it really just kind of depends on the philosophy, like how the coaching staffs want to build. And honestly, part of this is, where are you at in your build? Because if you're a program that primarily lives off high school recruiting, by the time you do enter your, year 3, year 4, year 5 at the program, I would say year 4 and 5 in particular, it does need to start being a thing where you are leaning more on high school, and then what you're getting out of the portal is complementary. But that doesn't always align. You sometimes have, like with Nebraska, not this last year, but the year before, where you lose a big senior class, or you lose a big big group of upperclassmen, and you're kind of forced to replace a bunch of experience. We found that teams, when they lose a bunch of experience, often turn to the portal, and that's kind of how they allocate from research. And I'm curious to see if that's something that sticks moving forward, where instead of backfilling top end experience, like traditionally, instead of the strategy being, okay, this is the year where we're about to lose a bunch of juniors and seniors to the draft or to whatever, we're going to backfill on high school to replace this depth and develop within the program. Instead, a lot of programs have kind of taken the approach of, okay, we're losing all of this, we can afford to upgrade within here, but we really need to look to the portal at these positions to replace the experience we're losing. So that's what I'm curious to see if that's something that sticks moving forward, if that's kind of the calculus and how, teams choose to approach that moving forward. Or like I mentioned, kind of it makes some sense for programs to get back to, programs have, but it makes sense to live out of high school recruiting, just because it's cheaper and frankly, it's easier than the mad dash we had in the portal this last 2 weeks.
Tim, if you said right now, currently, JUCO is not really a big part of that equation. And do you see a world in which, if the Diego Pavia ruling gets applied across all of JUCO players, which I think there's a decent chance that happens, I don't know time frame wise, do you see a world in which JUCO becomes much more valuable because of the additional eligibility there, or is it still probably not going to be on the radar in the same way?
I don't think it's going to be on the radar in the same way, just because, I mean, like, it could, just in the sense that what it could be used for is, programs that like a guy, but like don't really want to give, like, it's kind of like a farm league, or like treat it like that kind of, where it's like you go develop here for a couple of years and then we'll come get you. I mean, but that's what teams have done before, and that's how it used to kind of be. What is different now, I think, is it's a talent. Like, age matters for sure, but like talent is part of this. Like, you could be 23, but doesn't mean you're good just off being 23. You know what I mean? Like, and playing 4 years in JUCO or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily think like that's going to be as impactful, just because like a lot of guys coming out of high school and through it, like, it's still very much like talking to guys like that have to make the jump down or whatever, like, or are like looking for option late. Like, it's not that JUCO is the last resort, but like they recognize what a grind JUCO football still is, and they recognize kind of how tough it is to like work through that and get out of it, and what it kind of takes. Where it is somewhat like, okay, if I'm down to my handful of options, my last option is, okay, well, if anything, I can just go JUCO. Like, it's kind of the last option for a lot of guys.
Okay, so Tim, I'm just curious, and work with me here if this question doesn't make sense, because sometimes I like to spitball. But when you being a talent evaluator, especially across college football, it got brought up many times, especially in the national championship, kind of the how old the rosters were, their age. How do you assess the age of a certain player or roster comparative to the development that they have been through? Does that make sense? Not necessarily just like, oh, this guy's much older, but maybe like, is it how many years they've been in college football? Is it how many, coaches that they've been with? Or how do you kind of balance that when you're evaluating talent at the Division I level?
It's case by case, and it's very much like I think very much based on where they've been, what they've been doing. Like, again, you look at that Indiana roster, for example, and you're like, okay, well, the older guys that are contributing here and that are, kind of the start, like, they're not your traditional older guy, or not traditional, but like, it's not what other people, when the basic college football fan is like, oh, this is a 6-year senior, or this is like, this guy's on the older end, where it's like he's been playing for 5 years. We're like, no, these guys developed through the process, and kind of were with James Madison at were with Kurt Cignetti at James Madison, developed there, and kind of worked up and grew into this role here in Indiana, where it is a traditional development path, even if they did transfer once or twice. And it's just by like year 5, year 6, they start to break out. Like, obviously that's a longer developmental track, but like, you look for the consistency, you look for the dedication, and you look for, like, again, like, what does the tape beforehand show, and what does it look like in year 6? So like, I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, as long as it's legal, I do what you want, like, play however long you want. But like, my personal take on it, I think, is like, I look at guys that, like that, like, like, for example, like, I don't think anyone at Indiana this last year, this is the way I'm trying to make a point. I don't think anyone in Indiana this year that contributed on the Super Bowl team, if they had declared a year earlier, are going in like the top 3-4 rounds. You know what I mean? They all needed that additional year. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, I give grace to guys where I'm like, okay, you need that year. Like, yeah, you're on the older end, but you need that year to prove yourself. You need this year to kind of like earn your way into the draft. Like, I don't, just based off what they put on tape in the year prior, the ones that were draft eligible, at least from Indiana, and even I would even say maybe even Miami. I mean, Miami technically Carson back, but I don't know how they'd assess the injury. But with Indiana in particular, I think the draft eligible guys, I don't know how many of those guys go early in the draft, or in the like top 3-4 rounds, without the year they just got at Indiana.
All right, Tim, let's kind of move on to some specifics here. I'm fascinated by sort of this whole Tanner Vibable situation. So it seemed like, obviously, he didn't sign on signing day with Nebraska. Seemed like later in the day, and maybe even yesterday morning, it seemed like they had rebuffed the JMU efforts and it was maybe still going to sign with Nebraska. And then later in the day, obviously flips to JMU and ends up signing there. What do you know about that process, and what all happened there for him to ultimately sign with James Madison?
Yeah, I mean, you think about the kid in particular, and kind of you look at these the options he had in a vacuum where, Nebraska had been the one that's like, okay, well, this is his first Big Ten offer, first Power Four. There's a lot of intrigue there. And I even like talking to him coming out of that visit, it was a lot of just like, hey, like, this is a program with more resources than any other program in my recruitment in terms of development, in terms of opportunity. There's no better place for me to come and sit and develop. But when you get an opportunity to not sit,
yeah,
you take it. And when you have an opportunity to be compensated as a player that's not sitting, objectively, Nebraska's not allocating a whole lot of money, if any, for the fourth quarterback on the roster or the fifth quarterback on the roster, and on the flip side, James Madison, and this is where, like, hey, NIL rep, like, this is the stuff that this was kind of made for. Like, it's evening the playing field in this way, where, like, typically this is a guy that is a power forward depth piece, but now a G5 program here can come in and swing in late and say, hey, we're going to compensate you because we can afford to do that as a QB2, QB3. And that program, you're not going to see the field for 2-3 years. Come play here down the line, come develop, and also get compensated. It makes sense. I think objectively, like he made the right decision in terms of his, where things are at in his career, and where things are at in Nebraska too, where like he would be joining a program here in Nebraska where the earliest he would be playing would be 28, 29, and he would have to beat out Trey Taylor and TJ Lateef to do that. And again, I think the kid's talented. I think he's got some stuff there. I don't know if that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of this situation is, right, if everything goes to plan for Nebraska, Tanner Weibel never plays, right? Like that's the reality here.
Right, yeah, yes.
So
it's kind of a hard sell.
Yeah, that is a hard sell where it's like, basically the sell is, hey, come be a depth piece, enjoy all of our nice resources for a couple years, then go somewhere else, is kind of the sales pitch, which maybe works for some people. The other guy I want to talk about, guy that did sign, Dylan Berryman. Obviously, that was a pretty big get, both like positionally and ranking-wise for Nebraska. How was Nebraska able to emerge seemingly rather quickly as the top option for Berryman?
So this is one where, you date back to, I think I'll put this up on the board here later, but like this dates back to like late October, kind of, before he even flipped kind of from Texas. He was still committed to Texas, or be committed from Texas, and wasn't really, like, the communication had somewhat dropped off. Like, one program had kind of been in the mix, but like he was less committed than I think people realized. So, and again, funny enough, I like at the time I was kind of like doing my like due diligence to figure out, okay, Nebraska's in the D-line search, like what's the status with Dylan Berryman? And I checked in, and that's the response I got from people close to him of like, hey, he's less committed than people realize. Shot a text over to some people on Nebraska staff. They got in contact. A couple weeks later, he officially decommits from Texas. Nebraska officially offers. But it was that stretch of weeks, I think, leading up to that offer, which was really important, where like Nebraska kind of emerged as like, hey, we're interested. We want to get you on campus. Because once he decommitted, of course, a bunch of programs kind of tried to check in, try to see if they could get in late. But it was like the Nebraska, I think, and credit to the staff from there. Anthony Johnson in particular, I think, across staff changes, really did a good job of keeping Nebraska in this mix. Recruiting assistant, now the assistant director of player personnel, but kind of the D-line assistant, in terms of recruiting wise, like he does a lot of work there, and did a lot of work, across the transition from John Butler to Rob Orich, from Terry Braden to Corey Brown. The guy kind of holding it together was Anthony Johnson. Keith Williams did a lot of work in there too. Matt Rule certainly contribute. E.G. Bartel went in home right before his official visit. That made a big deal. That made a big impact. And then, once we got into December, it was like, okay, well, this is going to be Nebraska and Kentucky's recruitment. This is going to be a head-to-head. Kentucky had relationships. If people want to know how Kentucky emerged here, Kentucky plugged Joe Sloan from LSU, plucked a few other assistants that had existing relationships with Dylan. So this wasn't like a brand new program in the recruitment. This is a program or with assistants at least, that he's familiar with. But I think, in my opinion, as January played out, it was just the extent and the consistency of Nebraska. Like he had just experienced he'd committed to Texas after a long-ish recruit. Like he'd been like after Texas had been after him for a while. He'd been in communication with a few schools, but he saw once he was committed kind of how Texas treated him, how the communication changed over time. And the fact that Nebraska was as consistent as they were through the recruiting process made such a big impact into January where, they ended up winning out. And it got a little dramatic here late. We all had our predictions in like a week before. And, kind of felt like Nebraska was very well positioned here the week leading up to his final decision. The night before, like pretty late at night, the night before, things swung back Kentucky's way briefly. And it looked like the Wildcats were going to pull this off, but Nebraska got back in contact, were able to kind of get over the top and get this thing done. And by Wednesday morning, got the text that like, okay, this is done. It's going to be Nebraska.
How impactful is this 2026 class going to be in the immediate for the 2026 season? Do you see a guy like Berryman? Do you see a guy like Odom? Or these guys immediately becoming maybe not necessarily starters, but at least impact players that maybe when we get to the end of the Big Ten season, that they're guys who are contributing in a significant way?
Yeah, I think Berryman's going to be a guy depending on, I think you look at the traits of what he does on tape and just where he's at from a frame standpoint. It's not going to take a whole lot of adjustment for him to be ready to play at the Power 4 level. Like I think even with the fact that he's not early enrolling, I think he's going to be ready to contribute in some form. What level, what that looks like, we'll see. I mean, like again, he's drawn comps to Jaden Jackson at Oklahoma, CJ West at Indiana, and even Byron Murphy at Texas is another one, in my opinion, that kind of makes some sense here when you're talking about play style. All those guys, except for West, I believe, both those guys, Jackson and Murphy, contributed very early, like freshman or year two, very, very early in their career, just because of what they do well, which, like Dylan, it's take up space. But it's also with the quickness to kind of penetrate the backfield, but like just off mass and size alone are kind of run stuffers. They can stop the run. And so you look at him, I think he's a guy that's going to be working into the rotation. Luke Sorensen at tight end's another one I think is absolutely in line to contribute as a freshman. I think the staff thinks the world of him. I think they see him as a guy that's, and you look at the high school tape, it's not going to take a whole lot of time for him to get adjusted to blocking here. He takes pride in it. He loves inline blocking. He's going to live out of that first, but he has some significant upside as a pass catcher. And then at running back, Jamal Rule's going to be one that I think is, especially with how Nebraska operated there, depending on how much mass he's able to add to his frame here in the spring or through kind of conditioning, in winter workouts, how much mass he's able to add to his frame. I think he's one that's in line. And then, I mean, to close off, I think the guy that's most likely to contribute here this year is Danny Odom. Yeah, like absolutely big frame corner. Obviously Nebraska has a bunch of corners and DBs on the roster right now, but I think he's a guy. He has like on top of the skill set, and I mean he's proven himself over the last year. He's played on the national circuit. He played in the All-American Bowl. He played a national high school schedule as a senior. Like he's proven himself against the best of the best. And on top of that, getting around him at the All-American Bowl, I think he's got the mentality and the competitiveness to do this. Like I think he's got the right head on his shoulders to come in and just put his head down and climb up the depth chart. Like and so I'm really curious to see kind of how he attacks in spring, how he looks in spring. The one question with him before his senior year was just like, can he play up to like 180, 185 plus pounds? He carried that really well as a senior. And so now it's like, okay, well, how much more weight can he add to his frame? But at the same time, I think he can play up in the Big Ten at 185, 190, which isn't too much more weight to add to that frame. I would say the other two I would keep an eye on maybe. At least one. I think Larry Miles is going to be in line to like work into the slot a little bit. I just think he's a guy that gets open naturally, comes in with a pretty high floor. I've said this in a few places now. I don't think he's going to have like a Ja'Cory Barney-esque freshman year in the sense that, I mean, Ja'Cory like kind of had to have the production he did because Nebraska had a lot less in the receiver room when Ja'Cory joined the program. But I do think that there's going to be flashes across the year from Miles where you're like, oh, like that's like Barney, where like you leave his freshman year being like excited about what that guy can be down the line.
All right, Tim, you mentioned tight ends there for a second with Luke Sorensen. So I've got two separate tight end questions. Number one, do you think the Sorensen part of it, or just the depth in that room in general, kind of led to the moving of positions for Mac Markway? And secondly, this is not the second question, it's the second part of the first question, if that's not confusing at all. What do you think of Markway as an edge rusher as opposed to a tight end?
Yeah, like this is what I'm still a little hesitant on. I want to wait and see what this looks like in spring, just because one, yeah, I mean, I think it speaks to the confidence in the room that they'd move Markway. I think Markway of the guys on I mean, even off the injury, in terms of floor and what you're getting just immediately on the field, like the floor there is pretty similar to, in my opinion, the floor with Sorensen. So I think it speaks to what they think about Sorensen. And more so, I think what it speaks to guys like Eric Ingerson and Caden Echternock and guys that are going to play that kind of second and third tight end role in these 12 and 13 personnel type sets. As for the second part of this, like, what do I think of Markway as a defensive end? I'm not sure. I mean, coming off the injuries and just, I mean, going back, I watched some of his high school tape, even like old stuff where he at least even initially works in at or gets like a handful or here and there, like working in at defensive end. And it's like, okay, he's got the size, I think. He's got some, like, obviously some tools and just is a functional mover. But, like, I'm not sure on the explosiveness, like, it's early explosiveness and the explosiveness necessarily needed to, like, set the edge or, like, pass rush necessarily off the edge. Is he capable maybe of kind of holding his own and setting the edge and defending the run there from like a strong side end position? Sure. I don't know how much he's going to be able to bend, how much he's going to be able to kind of explode off the edge, like some of that stuff. I've got a question mark on it. It was a curious move for me. I just want to see what this looks like in spring.
Okay, so my second tight end question here is sort of tangentially Nebraska related. Was the commitment of Dayton Raiola to Oregon as a tight end on the was the position switch on the radar at all? Because it seemed, I mean, to me at least, and obviously I don't follow this as closely as you do. I mean, to me it seemed like a total out of nowhere, like, oh, he's a tight end now. Was that something anybody had talked about, like a position switch at all with Dayton amongst any of his recruitment, or was that sort of out of left field?
It kind of emerged over the last week. He actually practiced at the Polynesian Bowl at tight end. Like, it was the first time really working at tight end.
Okay.
And I think that is when it kind of emerged. Like, maybe probably before that, obviously, because he made the transition going into the game and all of that. But yeah, I think as the we want to be together Oregon type conversation kind of creeped up, I was like, okay, well, the best way this is going to work is kind of as a tight end. Yeah, and I'm interested to see how it works. I mean, Oregon of any of programs right now, like they've made it work with kind of unconventional type tight ends, and this is not necessarily going to be one of those it's kind of like Markway, where it's like it's very much sight unseen. You have to wait and see what this looks like. But like for Dayton, he's gonna have to put on he's gonna have to change his frame a whole lot, which I think he can do. I mean, I think he can do. I think he can add some good weight to that frame. I'm curious to see what he looks like maybe once he's kind of built like a tight end, and like at 6'1", that would probably be what 225, 230. Like that's kind of what the weight would be at. And so I'm curious to see what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, this is one kind of like in a Tanner situation for Nebraska where I don't know when he's going to see the field. You know what I mean? So it's like you can kind of take this swing and take this experiment because it's not, you're not allocating a whole lot of resources there. And you're developing. It's 2-3 years of just development. And so it's like, okay, yeah, try and learn a new position. You've got 2-3 years to learn a different position.
Tim, for the next few weeks, obviously we saw the big January 31st recruitment weekend, everything else that was going for Nebraska. What do the next few weeks look like now that the official national signing day for 2026 is wrapped up? What can Nebraska do either with any roster movement? Is there anything that they can do, or is there some future planning really that goes on in these next few months?
Yeah, like my opinion, I think now that Tanner's gone, I could see them assessing like 26 QBs, see if there's anything left out there, like high school QBs that didn't sign. If there's a JUCO option or a reclass or something like that. Yeah, the staff has gotten creative before to try and add talent to the roster. James Williams, David Hofkin, Makai Nelson, like they're very creative in adding talent where they see fit. I think quarterback and running back are two positions that could potentially see them assessing what's out there, even carrying this maybe into the summer of assessing things through camp, and maybe trying to work to add another arm to the quarterback room, another back to the running back room. And besides that, like, hey, if a defensive lineman pops up somehow that fits their needs, that can add to the rotation and give them something in 2026, I don't think they'll turn their nose at it. I think they'll absolutely like listen and be open. But I also think they're generally limited just based on how many additions they made and where they're up against, like in terms of the roster limit. So there's not a whole lot of flexibility here, but they've been creative before. I expect them to do their due diligence and turn over every rock like they have before to try and figure out how to close out this roster.
That's Tim VERGHESE from Inside Nebraska. Tim, great stuff as always. Appreciate the time. Have a good weekend, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Tim.
That is Tim VERGHESE from Inside Nebraska. Going to take a quick break here. We'll get to VINNIE IYER from the Sporting News to preview the Super Bowl.
Whoa, that's happening?
Don't know if you know this. The Super Bowl's this weekend.
It has kind of passed by. It's just not on our radar. It's two different ends of the coast.
It feels like the Super Bowl and the Winter Olympics have kind of crept up on me a little bit. It's just like, hey, there's Olympic hockey on right now. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is a thing that's happening.
Just nice not to have Chiefs fans breathing down our neck. The Super Bowl's here, guys.
Hey, guys.
It's back again.
Did you know the Super Bowl's here?
Well, you got Patriots fans.
Yeah, instead we
doing that
just
now.
got Rico breathing down our necks, which is...
Yeah, but, I mean, is he really a Patriots fan?
Yeah.
I
don't know. We'll talk to VINNIE IYER about the Super Bowl coming up next.
It just, tough, physical, just everything that Coach Peichel has always done with his team is get them out and go out and play with unbelievable effort. And, you look at that Michigan State game where they were up double digits for a lot of that second half. And, really, I felt should have won that game. So, they're always very dangerous, especially in the rack. They, the way they play, the way they can get the crowd behind them. Obviously, early game, important to get off to a good start. But, this team is playing extremely hard, coming off the West Coast. And, I know they're going to be ready.
Whether you've walked these halls or cheered on the team, this is our chance to make a difference. Every scholarship, every breakthrough, every dream, you've been a part of this story. On February 11th and 12th, we are writing the next chapter. For 24 hours, every gift, every amount, every one of us will show our Husker pride. This is how we glow big red. This is how we make history. Give today.
Yeah, this senior class is very special. And all these guys are special young men. And I think, it's about probably 2% of the kids in college that are able to, wrestle, play football, baseball, track, whatever. Only 2% of kids get opportunity to do this. And we have 9 seniors. Not all of them are starters at, different times of the year or different times during their career. And they're all special because they all did the same thing. Obviously Brock Hardy and Silas Allred were more of the guys that in the spotlight all the time. But, Jagger Condomini and Blake Cushing and Weston Dalton and Matt Moore and Cooper Colson and Hayden Mills, they're just as important. These guys all make up our team.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
You know, a couple years ago, we were playing the AFC Championship game, and 2 days later, we flew to Seattle, and we stayed there, you know, all the way across the country. And in the moment, you know, it felt like that was a big, you know, it was obviously a huge decision, but man, we're really blessed and happy that happened.
We have a responsibility to each other to continue to prepare as much as possible and to be ready for every situation that can present itself in the game. And both of those things can be true. You can still enjoy your family. You can still have dinner with them on Friday night. You can still see them on Saturday afternoon. And you can still prepare to win the football game on Sunday.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by VINNIE IYER of the Sporting News to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. VINNIE, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we, you know, this game is, I'll be honest, it felt like it's crept up on me a little bit. You know, the 2 weeks between the AFC Championship, NFC Championship, and this game have gone by super fast. Maybe it's just, you know, enjoying all those Pro Bowl games so much. But as we get into the Super Bowl here, just very simply, what is the most interesting narrative that you've sort of been hearing around this game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing has been off the field with what the Patriots are not getting in terms of their past. And everyone wants to be looking at Super Bowl 49 and the rematch here between the Patriots and Seahawks and what's going to happen with Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft and Drake May finishing now second for MVP. Everyone thinks people are out to get the Patriots, but I just want to look at this team and this matchup. And look, you can bring up Super Bowl 49. People like to do that, memories of rematches. We do it for all these type of games, but I think that's also taken away from these teams are completely different from those teams. And I think you want to say this an extension of what they did with Bill Belichick. No, it's Mike Vrabel's thing. He's doing something different. Drake May is in a different era where you got to play really well as a quarterback in your second year or even as a rookie to push your team to this level, and that's what you've seen. And then the Seahawks, I think they're very similar to what they were, but still quite different, right? I mean, they're really lifting their quarterback with what they're doing, their defense and the running game. It's a throwback team to when we had different defense-dominated teams, whether it was the Ravens or Buccaneers or Bears from the past. I mean, that's how they kind of got to the Super Bowl. So the Patriots are doing it a little bit differently, but you look at these teams, they're complete. They won 14 games each in the regular season. There's nothing fluky about their schedule and all that. So I think, unfortunately, we're taking away a little bit about appreciating two really great teams meeting in the Super Bowl and one of the better matchups in terms of the records of the Super Bowl.
All right, Vinny. So kind of in that same sense, what you're talking about between the quarterback comparisons, do you see this as, is there a possibility that we finish out Sunday and Sam Darnold, if he were to win for the Seahawks, gets as much credit as Drake May would have if the Patriots were to win? It just feels like the narrative in the pregame is that the Seattle roster is much better, and Sam Darnold's basically been along for the ride. He's made some plays here and there, but it's really been Drake May's team that has pushed the Patriots into the Super Bowl. Is there a version where you can see Darnold gets a lot of that credit after Sunday?
Well, I think if he plays really well and it's a high-scoring game, if they get it done that way and he has to outduel Drake May in terms of the passing statistics and they're pretty even and he's making the plays at the end of the game to win it, then I think you're going to look at that a little differently. But unfortunately, the narrative is also kind of true because, again, this is a 50-50 run-pass team from the regular season. So they're not as dependent on the passing game to win games. They're counting on their defense and the running game. And look, the running game is not top tier, and everyone looks at it like, this seems like a passing team, but they stick with the run, and they are very committed to that so they can open up the offense, so they can take pressure off Sam Darnold. Now, he can probably win the Super Bowl by his other teammates coming through, right? If he's protected and all that, he should execute well in this game. Drake May might need to be more creative and do a little bit more. He's maybe facing the tougher overall defense, so you might have to run, do things that are off script more than Sam Darnold to win this game. So I think it just depends on how the game plays out. But if it's in the teens, you're going to say, okay, this is the defense that won the championship for the Seahawks. But if you get a 20s pushing into the 30s, then you're going to start looking at which quarterback played better.
Vinny, let's say you're down 4, less than 2 minutes left. You need a drive to win the game. Who are you taking in this one, Sam Darnold or Drake May?
I think I'm going with Drake May because if you've seen, I know he wasn't put in this position in the playoffs because they were leading all these games late, right? But there were plays he made, right? I mean, he had a big play downfield to put away the Chargers. He ran the ball in the games to put away other teams as well. I mean, he had 10 carries. Let's not forget that. I don't think you'll see a world where Sam Darnold has 10 effective carries in a game, but they weren't just like little scrambles. I mean, he ran for the first down against the Broncos. He ran well against the Chargers. So this is a big element, and I think people just discount this part of Drake May's game because there's some biases, of course, with that, but he is as athletic as it comes with any quarterback, and they're also willing to run him more, and that's an element that I think the Seahawks will struggle with a little bit because, again, they can flush him out, but he can make plays when it seems like things are really broken down.
So, Vinny, it seems like, and you know, the line would indicate this as well, that Seattle is the pretty clear favorite. Are there? It seems like you would take Drake May over Sam Darnold, so that's an advantage to the Patriots. Where else do you think maybe this matchup is closer or actually favors the Patriots more than people maybe realize?
I think it's going to be the run defense, and everyone looks at maybe their numbers, and then there was that game against the Bills where James Cook ran all over them. But Milton Williams, when he's healthy, this team has been very hard to run on, and he took over in the playoffs. And guess where else he took over? Last year in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. He was dominant in that game. That's why the Patriots paid him. He had 2 sacks in that game. I don't think people realize that as well, where he controlled the line of scrimmage, and you're not dealing with just like average guys there. Dealing with Creed Humphrey, you're dealing with Trey Smith in the middle of that line, and that's going to be the matchup that really determines this. Can they keep Milton Williams from blowing up plays in the backfield? Because, again, he took over last year's Super Bowl. It really could happen again this year. So that's the one matchup I'm going to watch. I mean, Gray Zabel has been very good as a rookie out of North Dakota State, but this is a savvy guy, Williams, and I think people will see him be more disruptive. I mean, again, he could be one of those rare players who switches teams and wins Super Bowls, and it seems a lot of those guys are on the defensive side.
Vinny, we saw obviously yesterday in the NFL honors that JSN got all the accolades that he rightfully deserved and a lot of respect from his peers after a great year. If you had him in fantasy, you probably celebrated a couple of times too. But he's going up against Christian Gonzalez likely throughout most of the contest. Do you see that as like a true – is that like an eliminating factor? Is one going to limit the other one? Or do you think that is just a little bit far-fetched that Christian Gonzalez is going to constantly – be one-on-one against one of the NFL's best receivers?
Well, I think they're going to do their best to shadow him with Gonzalez as much as possible because they do have some weaknesses at the other corners. I know Carlton Davis is a big body, and I don't know if his size as a corner is really the best matchup for Jackson Smith and the Jigba's quickness. And then you worry about a little bit about Marcus Jones. He's a great return man. He's really special in that capacity, but sometimes he can struggle in the slot. So they're going to try to create some matchups for him where he goes away from Gonzalez. They do a great job with Clint Kubiak to move around JSN and scheme him open. So that's something we're going to watch. And then I think that's a big factor. And then the other side, look, the Seahawks are very hard to figure out sometimes in their pass defense. They do give up some big plays from time to time. But what really makes it confusing is between Devin Witherspoon and Nick Emenwari, who's going to be on the inside, where those matchups are going to be exploited. So it's going to be an interesting chess match for Kubiak versus the Patriots defense and vice versa for McDaniels versus Seahawks defense. How do you scheme those guys open and being aware of what coverage and from whom you're going to see in the game?
Vinny, who do you give the coaching edge to in this one?
I think you have to give it to Mike Vrabel. I mean, he is a guy that thinks a little bit, a few steps ahead. He's a very good tactician in terms of the little things in the game. Like he knows the clock management. He knows certain things that are going to help him. He knows when to challenge a play and when not to. So he's very good at the little situational things. I mean, Mike McDonald's a great defensive coach, and he's really had an impact on this team, and he's a really good young motivational leader. But I think in terms of like, if there's specific moments that are crucial coaching decisions in this game, I think Vrabel will make the better ones.
The past few Super Bowls prior to last year, they had all been closer games. We had a lot of one-score contests there. If you have to say this one gets to a one-score game, do you lean one way or the other? Or does it not change your opinion with which side you're kind of favoring?
Yeah, I think the Patriots are my lean here in general because, look, I think everyone's looking at this as maybe being Drake May MVP runner-up versus the Seahawks defense and all that. I think we always want to make a narrative that it's not just compartmentalized, right? I mean, the Patriots and Seahawks here are here because of their complete nature as teams. So I think it's going to be a great game. I think hopefully the game itself and seeing some fresh faces in there and coaching and players will make it exciting. And so that's all I'm hoping for. But it would be shocking to me if this game was decided by more than 4 points in the end.
Vinny, as you kind of look at this one, you think it's going to be a close game. What is one variable, whether it's a certain stat or a certain player, where you think, hey, if this goes this way, it'll give you a really good indication of how this game goes?
Yeah, if Drake May can get running, I mean, just look for his running stats. If he takes over the game on the ground, I think it's going to be a problem for Seattle because, again, they can hold up in coverage with a lot of their guys, but then he's doing things when things break down. They've had trouble. If you look at some of their games, I mean, they haven't seen a lot of running quarterbacks. Jane Daniels is probably the best one they saw all season long. So, and he was pretty effective runnings, and that was before he was hurt and all that. So when I look at it, like, that has to be the biggest factor in this game for the Patriots to win.
That is Vinnie Iyer from the Sporting News. You've got the Patriots. That's I think you're going a little against the grain there, but I like it.
A little bit, yeah.
We appreciate the time and enjoy the Super Bowl.
All right, thanks, guys.
That is Vinnie Iyer from the Sporting News. I was a little surprised he was so
pro Patriot.
Yeah, it seemed like I kind of got that from some of the answers he was given. You know, preferring Vrabel as the coach and Drake May and kind of my 2-minute situation there. But
are we remiss to immediately say that Vrabel deserves to get the edge in that?
So yeah, that's part of the reason I asked the question. I think the narrative is that Vrabel's the better coach, but Mike McDonald's done a phenomenal job. Like, I don't know.
It's because we know Vrabel, right? A little bit longer. He was the player. He was the Patriot that's been in the Super Bowls. I don't know if that actually parlays into understanding what this looks like as the head man.
I think we do give him a lot of credit for what we consider overachieving in Tennessee. Like those weren't good rosters for the most part, and you had some good players, but so I think we give him a lot of credit there. And then obviously had this immediate success with the Patriots. So I think, don't get me wrong, I think Mike Vrabel's a very, very good head football coach.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it's as clear cut between him and McDonald to say, oh, he's clearly the better guy. That narrative, and it's not just Vinny, like that's kind of the way most people think about it. I find super interesting because I mean, I know DB's super high on McDonald, but that's a really, really good football coach. I don't know that I look at that and see that there's a clear advantage either way.
Would I argue that it's more important for the coordinators and the head coaches?
I don't know. I think game management in Super Bowl is really critical.
Yeah.
Like it's a super weird game. Like everybody that's ever like played or coached in one tells you how strange it is. And it's almost
your time management is almost the utmost importance as well.
Yes, because I imagine, as I feel like things move probably more quickly, but also certain parts of it move much more slowly, and being able to balance that is pretty strange. I've heard guys talk about, because the halftime is so long, you basically restart your entire pregame prep. I think that's how Tom Brady described it, at least, was like, hey, like I just think of it as, hey, I'm starting all over again. Right. So like that part of it's super strange. And a lot of that is coaching too. Like you try and get these guys revved up again for halftime. How do you manage all of that? I find that super interesting. I've also find it the in-game management I think is trickier in a Super Bowl than we give credit for, because like things can get on top of you and away from you in a hurry. We've seen it quite a bit. So that to me, with two first-time, obviously Vrabel's been there as a player, but two first-time Super Bowl coaches, it'll be really interesting to see how they handle that. I also be really interested to see how both teams handle this might be the biggest part of it, is who takes the points, who goes for it in fourth down situations. We've seen that be a factor all throughout the playoffs. We saw it be a factor in the AFC Championship game where, Peyton's like, yeah, probably should take the points there a couple times, So I'll be really fascinated to see some of those decisions as well. And I don't know that it's clear cut between the two who's better.
Well, I think it's interesting we haven't had the discussion because of the past few years. It's been, it's X team that has been here before, usually the Chiefs, and Y team that has not been here very many times.
Yeah.
Both these teams are brand new getting here. There's not much like Super Bowl attrition on either side of the rosters. And no, it's not even a Super Bowl rematch from a decade ago as much as people want it to be. But it does feel like we're kind of forgetting that this is a big game. It is the biggest game you could possibly play in, and it's new for both sides.
Yes.
And outside of the coaching factors and everything you can do to get people comfortable, if you're looking at a second-year quarterback who could make an early mistake and maybe a game-changing mistake, or a quarterback that's had a lot of issues in bright lights in big cities, you kind of look at those things. That's why, and I know we'll get to like prop bets and all that other stuff, but like I really like a defensive touchdown in the game because I feel like there's going to be a significant mistake made by a younger player because of the significance and importance of the game itself.
Can I also, I'm not crapping on Sam Darnold here at all.
No,
but like I don't know that he had the year we think he had in terms of his overall stats. Like, he didn't have the year he had last year in Minnesota.
No, not at Minnesota, no, yeah.
Like I want to make that very clear. Like, slightly, the yards were down a little bit, but the touchdowns were down by 10. The interceptions went up a little bit. Like, his touchdown interception ratio was only 25-14. Like, that's not, especially in modern football, like, that's not a great number here. It's not terrible, but I do wonder if, because how good the team has been, if we are overstating sort of the prowess that Sam Darnold had this year. He was a good fit for what they wanted. Obviously seemed like an upgrade over Geno Smith. Drake May clearly had the better year at quarterback.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated Vinny's answer. The legs are a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're doing a game-winning drive or whatever, giving yourself that extra option of, hey, I can scramble and make things happen here. That's obviously a big factor. But I also I've heard people, especially Minnesota fans, because they're, they've got the JJ McCarthy experience. So they're sort of putting on a pedestal Sam Darnold in this. Like he had a pretty good year. It seems like it's been overstated.
What was his season stats?
4,000 yards, which is good, but not crazy anymore. Like that's not a crazy number anymore. 67% completion, 25 touchdowns, 14 interceptions.
So, I mean, he did have a 4 interception, no touchdown game against the Rams, which I'm not expunging it, but like obviously if you take away a really bad game, that obviously looks a little bit better. But it also does go to show that like that quarterback still exists, right? Like that version of Sam Darnold still exists, as it does for Drake May. Drake May didn't have a perfect 2 years as starting quarterback either. So I agree with you that it is one of those that I think just the way that Seattle had been constant. Once we got to about the middle of October, beginning of November, Seattle was routinely in the are they the best in the league team. So because of that, you get propped up as a quarterback as well.
Sure. And listen, he had a good year. I'm not saying he didn't, but
it's because he wasn't doing things that lost Seattle games.
Yes,
that was the biggest reason,
which
right?
is all they really needed because of how they're constructed.
Yeah.
I just think maybe we have overstated the Sam Darnold of it all in terms of, like, it's a great story. It's really cool that he's been successful, and he can make huge plays for you, but there is still some of that quarterback in him where you're like, is that, I mean, we saw it at the end of last year after he had a better year, and you go, is that guy going to rear its ugly head kind of in the biggest stage? Because it reared its ugly head in the 2 biggest stages he had last year with the Vikings. So you kind of sit there and you go, and let's not forget that's part of the context of why he got let go.
Yes. Yeah.
Like there was a conversation about.
Well, Minnesota felt that the ceiling wasn't up to where they thought JJ McCarthy's could be in big games.
Yeah. Well, and you look at it, you go, okay, was this a fluke? Was most of this year a fluke? Was it, Derek Anderson's random year with the Browns where he leads them to the playoffs, but that's not who Derek Anderson was for his career. We've had these kind of weird, was it Matt Castle's 1 year with the Patriots where, they didn't make the playoff. It's like, hey, we went 11-5 with Matt Castle. He's going to get a big deal from the Chiefs. I think there was a sense, especially the way the season ended, that maybe the Sam Darnold thing wasn't as real as it seemed for the first 16 games of the season. And I think the truth is somewhere in between there, right? He didn't have the year he had last year. He also didn't have the year the way it ended either.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, is this a one-off Super Bowl for the teams?
No, they'll play next year.
What do you mean? Is it a one-off Super Bowl? I don't know.
Like both these teams, this is the year, and
oh, you mean so can these teams get back to the Super Bowl again? I listen, if you want to get into that, this feels like a Monday conversation, but I feel like in that argument,
because the Super Bowl has been kind of lackluster a little bit. Like you said, the new teams, and I get the feeling it's almost kind of a one-off.
I would say, are you asking if either of these teams can get back, or are we going to have a rematch of these two teams?
Either one of these teams get back.
I would say there's a high probability the Patriots get back. Seattle is going to have a lot of roster attrition over the next year. They got to pay a lot of guys. They've been kind of peaking towards this team. That's the reason that they brought in a guy like Sam Darnold to be able to kind of lead the team. I like where McDonald's at. I think that they'll be able to kind of acquire the talent, but they're going to have some salary cap and paying issues to be able to move forward.
Their division's also a monster.
Yeah, 100%. The Cardinals are so good.
The Rams, for a lot of the year, may have been the best team in the league.
Yep.
The 49ers went 12-5, despite the fact that no one was healthy at any point ever.
Well, they did have nuclear fallout occurring in their roster, so there is that too.
Yeah,
and you compared obviously to the AFC East side. You're looking at a Bills team that has a huge question mark now. You have no idea what the Bills are going to look like under Joe Brady.
The
Dolphins are a mess. And the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah, so you're dealing with a Buffalo team with a new head coach.
Yep.
That's your competition in division. So I also think you've got turnover in Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland. Cincinnati brought their guy back, but they were 6-11. So what are we doing here?
Yep.
Is the Broncos, who have some weird turmoil between offensive coordinator who got fired, Sean Payton, Bo Nix calling his own press conferences. So that's a weird situation.
You also do have a Bo Nix injury to come back from.
Yeah.
And you don't think it'll linger, the AFC West in itself, Justin Herbert got sacked 2 million times.
Yeah, but
Patrick Mahomes is coming off of an ACL tear.
They should get the Chargers should get 2 of their offensive tackles back. So maybe that's one of the threats in the AFC. Is Jacksonville real? Is that a flash in the pan? I have no idea. Is Houston ever going to figure out how to score points?
Yeah.
I don't know. What does Kansas City look like next year? Is Mahomes healthy to start the year, or do they bounce back from 6-11? So, you look at the Patriots and you go, you're dealing with a lot of turmoil in the AFC that might allow them to navigate their way back. Where on the other side, Philadelphia was probably on their down year this year. You have to imagine.
Yes. They've been on this cycle for a little bit.
Yes, they have a little bit of a step back, and we're really good again. And a little bit of a step back, and we're really good. Because they draft unbelievably well.
And then on that same note, the NFC East is really good. Not up to the NFC West standards, but still like the Cowboys, who were like a very tough team and a tough out in November. And then you look at what the Commanders were, especially last year.
Yeah, if you've got Jaden Daniels healthy for a whole year again, that's an interesting team.
The NFC South exists.
I don't know what to do with John Harbaugh and the Giants. Maybe is Jackson Dart healthy all year? Is he capable of staying healthy all year? But again, the NFC North is really good. You've got the Lions and Vikings were both down this year, and they were still both over 500. It's the only division in football where the point differential for every team was positive. The Bears should be continuing to get better. That's a really good division. I think there's way more to navigate in the NFC.
Yep.
So I would agree with you.
You didn't even bring the Rams up.
They were.
We said the NFC West.
They were the first team I brought up.
Yep. Wow.
They were one of the best teams in football.
But it is completely fair because
they're one of the.
It's not a non-zero chance that Seattle, because of whatever could happen with their roster next year, misses the postseason because of how good the NFC is compared to the AFC. You would have to squint really hard and have to have a lot of things happen, I think, for the Patriots to go from Super Bowl to not making the AFC playoffs in a year. Whereas for the Seattle Seahawks, I think you could realistically say, hey, listen, you go 2-4 in your division and you're third, that you're already in a bad spot.
Yeah, that's what happened to the 49ers this year. They ended up in a tough spot because they ended up in third place in the division. A couple comments on the chat here before we get to Mike Sautter. Amazing Daniel says Pats might be building something. If May is who he might be, he's got a lookout of time, a lot. I think it means a lot of time to do more.
I was wondering why you were reading like you were AI.
He does. Funky Giblet says, do the Jets, Raiders, sorry Shane, Browns, and Cards all stink next year? And I said yes, across the board.
Yeah, that's
forever for the rest of time.
I always want the Cardinal. A fun Cardinal season does the heart wonders, but then it's always the same conversation when the Cardinals are like 11-6. Everyone just goes, the who? The what? The why? Who?
Dominic, Jacksonville actually does have a really good roster. I know
They do.
I know you're making fun, but they have a really good roster.
Well, don't forget, Pittsburgh's going to get Kyler Murray, so it's going to be a big deal.
They could. You never know.
Could. Short King Kyler.
I guess we'll never know. Well, they tried that with Russ, and that didn't work. Right?
Well, that's dangerous. That's two different.
Oh.
Yeah.
They did better with the giant quarterbacks with Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
Maybe they should go that route.
Get the big guys.
What's Brock Osweiler doing these days?
Ooh. Calling college football games.
There you go. Maybe he's available.
He's available.
We'll talk to Mike Sautter coming up next year on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, night before was tough. I think during the night, I think I threw up about 15 times. So I couldn't hold anything down. No water, no food, no nothing. During the day, just try and feel as good as possible. I think they gave me 2 IVs before the game to just get some sort of fluids in me, but couldn't even hold that down. Try and go out there and warm up, but there was nothing in the tank. So wanted to play really bad, but if there's nothing in the tank, then I also don't want to hurt the team by being out there. So just made the decision that it wasn't responsible to go out there.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's awesome. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Mike Sautter of Hurrdat Sports and NEB Preps. Mike, what's going on?
Not much. Well, a lot, but not much so far.
Why do you start it that way then? Do you have a lot going on?
Today I need to finish writing about Rutgers. They're bad.
Notable power.
There's every single analytical everything. There's 0 chance Rutgers wins tomorrow.
Whoa. Is that your lock?
Every single piece of number data that I like to look at, I just don't see a way.
Not even
outright. I don't know what the spread's going to be. It's probably going to be
at a 90% chance of victory.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about the House of Horrors that is Jersey Mike Arena?
Okay, Nebraska Rutgers is 6-3 in the last 9 played at home against Nebraska. But this isn't your brother's Nebraska basketball team.
It's also not 2 lottery pick and Rutgers walking in there either.
It is. It's very much so a chuck it and duck Rutgers team.
All right, we'll get into the Nebraska basketball of it all then. A lot of people would just say this is like a get-right game, but how is it more just like, let's just make sure we know how to squeak the wheels and get everything going? Because that's what you're kind of laying it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot harder than that. Rutgers plays real physical and tough, and Tyreek, their guard, is he's electric, and he takes crazy shots, makes crazy shots. Also, Nebraska's defense is really kind of built to allow mid-range shots, and that's what Rutgers takes. They don't make a lot of shots at all.
It's a bad sign if your team takes a lot of shots they don't make. I mean,
they do take a lot of mid-range jumpers, so that's a little bit different. I mean, guys, there are 356 Division I basketball teams in the country. Their effective field goal percentage is 336.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, and they're 2 point. Okay, the scary thing about Rutgers is they take a lot of mid-range jumpers. Okay, their 2-point field goal percentage is 348th out of 356 in the country. So, how are they scoring?
Also bad.
It sounds like you're chalking up as a Nebraska win.
I would be not stunned, but a little shocked. Like the best thing that Rutgers does offensively is they don't really turn it over that much. Like, they don't give up steals. How about that? And, well, they do, but they're like 72nd in the country at giving up steals.
Everything has a butt to it.
On the bright side, at least their effective field goal percentage on defense is in the mid 250s.
That's a little more positive. They don't give up a lot of free throws.
True.
So is this a tune-up for Purdue, is what you're suggesting?
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I do think Nebraska very much so should win this game. And it's an 11 a.m. tip, which makes me feel like the people in New Jersey are going to have other things to be doing. I don't know. I mean, everyone, the Michigan State game is the marker because they took Michigan State to overtime, and they were leading Michigan State by 16 in the second half at Jersey Mike Arena, or the Rack. And I believe that is a game where Jeremy Fears didn't trip anybody, which is new. I think that was maybe the last time he didn't. So that was a couple games ago for Michigan State. So, yeah.
Those are becoming fewer and further between. Yours is not.
That was an incredible one-play sequence for him at Minnesota. That was just
he just went full Grayson Allen.
Oh, I was going to say Draymond, but that's fine.
How dare you?
Yeah, that one wasn't awesome. So, do I think Nebraska wins? Yes. Do I think the time off, the week off here, 5 days or whatever for Nebraska, I think it's coming at very much so the right time. That obviously you have the health concerns. Not only, everyone just is like, well, Braden's ankle and Rink's flu. Well, Sam Hoiberg had a little head cold thing. You could hear Coach Hoiberg, Fred, had a little bit of a head thing, like head cold stuff. So that was kind of just making its way through the team a little bit. Rinks was obviously different. Jamarcus Lawrence has this ankle that he had at Illinois, right? Like he suffered at Illinois, still kind of a lingering thing. Berke has a little bit of a leg issue, right? So it's just, it came at the right time, especially after playing Michigan and Illinois, who are they're very good.
So, Mike, are you suggesting that no one will have the sniffles on the airplane all the way out to New Jersey?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I think that they needed a little bit of a break, and it gave them a little bit of a break. And I will say also that there were people that are Nebraska lost 2 games and people were jumping off the bandwagon, if you will. They lost 2 games to two teams that very easily could win a national championship, and they were right there. Like, it wasn't like they were getting the doors blown off of them. So let's just calm down. This isn't football where you only play 9 games. This is basketball where you play 31 regular season games, and 2 losses really isn't that big of a deal, especially against 2 top 10 teams. So just take a breath, and it's going to be okay. It's not football. And hey, Husker fan, you have something to actually root for that's good right now. So
before we move on to high school here, they'll play Purdue as well before we do again. How are you feeling about that one?
I think that one's going to be tough. Luckily, it's at, it's in Lincoln. So that helps because Mackey's a really tough place to play, obviously, as we know. I guess it wasn't for Keaton Wagler, though. 46 points is a lot in that gym. But it's tough because the size thing. Oscar Clough played at South Dakota State last year, and he got paid. You want to talk about a guy that got paid? That guy got paid. So that size, they also have another, they love 7-footers at Purdue. Braden Smith is a stud. He's averaging like 9, something ridiculous. I think it's 9.2 assists a game in Big Ten play. That's an insane number. So, but they haven't shot it great recently, and they've had some losses. So I think Nebraska can get them. That one's obviously, I think, more of a 50-50 shot on Tuesday. So would be really good to get that win after Rutgers, and then you kind of go into the rest and you're like, they're probably going to lose a couple more games. So it's just, Rutgers, you beat Purdue, you can beat Northwestern at Iowa. Feel like that one's going to be a little tougher. We have time to talk about that one, and then Penn State and Maryland are not good. Like they're just not, and those are at home. So you would expect those. And then I actually think you split one of the LA trip. I just kind of do, just because you're on the road for a whole week and all that. So I just think it's funny, finicky thing. And then Iowa at home. I think you probably split with Iowa. It's playing at Iowa is going to be a little different this year than the last couple. They're actually going to have fans maybe show up. And it'll be very loud, and Price Sanford's going to have some mental toughness in Iowa City on Tuesday, February 17th.
All right, Mike, let's move on to the prep side of things. Had an interesting day. I think it was Tuesday earlier this week where class number 1 in both A and C1 fell on, or C2, excuse me, fell on Tuesday. The C2 one felt like a much bigger surprise than, 3 versus 1 is not that big of a deal. And Class A has sort of been very fluctuating in the top 7-ish spots for all year. Talk to me about that Concordia win over Fremont Bergen, though.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise. Bergen, I think, is very good. Concordia had a couple guys out, even, I think, or still kind of banged up, injured. So, also Concordia has been really good for a handful of years. Coach Koulis has done a great job there building that program up. So, not that big of a surprise, but yes, it was a surprise. I just kind of pegged Bergen to kind of go all the way to Heartland Hoops Classic next week unbeaten. Like, that was just kind of, okay, yeah, they can probably be unbeaten. So, and you're right on like Class A, the quote unquote upsets.
Although the margin from Prep and Southwest was, that was the surprising part.
I think the scores were the surprising part. Was Southwest, like Prep beat Southwest by 20. I watched actually the last quarter and a half of that one, just on the stream. And then even the other one too was Central, what they did on Tuesday night to North Star by 20 something as well. Like, that one was
kind of taking their lumps the week before a little bit too.
Was that like a half championship hangover? Like, what do you think occurred? Because it was both those teams on the same day, just a few days after that Saturday game.
Yep, I think that's exactly what it is. I was just going to say that. I think the gauntlet of what has become the hack tournament, playing 3 and 4 days, prep time, all that stuff. And then you just literally have, 1 day of getting ready or practice time after that. I think that absolutely had something to do with it. I think they just kind of, after that we needed to have a little break, right? Like they didn't. And that's quite okay, I guess. So
Mike, you're at Millard West Southeast tonight?
Southwest girls. Yeah.
So my question is, just because I'm looking a little bit ahead, and you don't want to, put any teams into the tournament by any means, but with the boys' side, we kind of know there's going to be some familiar names that we saw from years past, like Data and Levi Webb and some of these guys if they make the tournament. But on the girls' side, there's some pretty big names that'll play again, and it's been a couple of years in a row that we've had some of like bigger names or high talented prospects that have played in the girls' state tournament. What's kind of been, I guess, the change for you that maybe you've seen over the past couple of years that have led to just these higher profile players, whether they're Britt Prince or Molly Ladwig and Callie Pabin, that'll now be for Millard West too, that just kind of lets that bigger star potential continue to occur here in the state?
Yeah, well, don't forget about the Gesserts too. They were pretty.
Yep.
And I think that really it's just kind of a thing. Girls basketball, we've had a lot more Division I talent in the last handful of years, and historically kind of than the boys side. Now, take out the 2019 to 2022 run that we had, where we had like 9, 11, like there was a bunch of Division I boys players. Take that out, but historically, girls has outperformed, if you will, on the Division I, level or getting to Division I scholarships than boys has. So I think it's just a thing that we've just kind of always had. Now it's younger and younger. One that's we know through data, like girls basketball offers come a lot faster. They mature faster, all of that. That I don't need to rehash any of that, but I do feel like we've always kind of been trending in that direction, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
On the boys' side of things tonight, is Millard Northwest side the clear best game tonight?
Banger, yeah. That one should be a banger. I will say, so the age, experience, length of West Side, it could be an advantage there. But at the same time, I look at kind of the point guard position, and Corian Gallatin has been playing amazing. It's not about scoring 45 points or, making 17 threes or whatever. He's just controlling the pace. He's exactly what a point guard should be doing. He's done a fantastic job. When I watched them last week, I was super impressed, and I think he had 11 points. Like, he wasn't the leading scorer. Couple of nuggets there. So West Side has outscored their opponents in the fourth quarter by about a 3-point margin. So they've that tells you they maybe made a little adjustments there. West Side, looking at just matchup, West Side is rebounds it better by a little over 3. And everything else besides blocks, but West Side's obviously going to block a lot of shots because they have 6'9", 6'8", 6'6", 6'4", like they're huge. So everything else is kind of pretty even, and it's at Millard North. And get this, West Side has 4 losses on the season, right? 2 neutral site losses, which is fine, right? And 2 of them are at home. They're 5-0 on the road. Yeah. And West Side's a tough place to play, right? So that one's the biggest profile, highest game of the night, no question. I would expect the corral, as it's known at Millard North, to be pretty full tonight. Stable, corral, same thing. It's horses.
It's horses.
Whatever. Like, aren't they the same?
I actually couldn't tell you the difference between a corral and a stable.
No, a corral is basically like fence, and a stable is like
It's like the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a difference.
So the corral would be the floor. The stable would be the gym. Right?
Yeah, but I'm just sure. Yeah,
we're getting at. All right.
Corral is more of like
an open air fenced dirt floored enclosure. A
Right.
stable is a covered indoor structure.
what I mean,
So
yes.
it is a Miller North stable.
Yeah.
Unless you're suggesting they're playing on the blacktop.
But no, but that's why I corrected myself, because I made the corral is very much so movable. Actually, if you would like it to be, you can move that thing around and have the metal fencing if you like. Corral for cow branding and stuff. If just
real weight right now.
I've created a bit of a corral in the backyard for my dogs to kind of keep them in certain areas.
Very nice.
So don't wear out the grass.
Yeah, well, so they don't track mud in more than anything.
I got
certain parts that like are a little shadier than others because of the trees, and so that they're more mud prone.
Ooh,
I got you need to get some of the stuff I put on my yard after you seed it. It's basically like the drying agent that baseball fields use, but it's made for a yard too. So
yeah, you have to text that to me.
All right,
you get some of that down, and anyway.
Mike, since we won't be able to talk with you before we get into some of the games for next week too, just looking ahead, I know you and I have talked about it. JP's talked about it too. Next Tuesday is gigantic on the 10th, because you've got the top game in Class B with Scott at Norris.
100%, yeah.
And then you look across kind of the rest of those matchups. You've got Lincoln Southwest at Bellevue West. Southeast is at Westside and Boys. Bennington's at Roncalli Catholic, which is kind of an under-the-radar one there too.
West Side at Southeast.
Yeah. And so there's
or at West Side.
Yeah, there's just so many good games that match up so late in the year. And obviously this has happened in years past, but do you remember that? Is there a day that sticks out to you that's kind of like gearing up, like next Tuesday is, that sticks out in your memory, where there were so many of these regular season games that happened kind of in one go?
District final. Like I don't. It's been tough, like to get that many in a game. I mean, you still have like Bennington Roncalli is a good matchup. There's a lot like on any other day, like that one's talked about maybe a little more, but. Syracuse just beat was it UTAN last night?
Oh, that was big.
Yeah. Auburn is, I don't know who won last night, but their their conference final is tomorrow at Meade. If Auburn and if Freeman beat each other, they'll play at Meade tomorrow night at 7 in a game that should be like 36-32. So that's another one maybe on there too. But no, Concordia Mount Michael also. I don't think so. Like in recent memory, I can't think of a night where literally across the board from all classes that it's been that much of a kind of heater with top matchups or bigger games. No.
Mike, get you out of here on this. In terms of Class A boys, got about 2 weeks left in the season. I know there has not been a lot of separation between the top teams all year. Do you feel like you know any more now than you did like a month ago or 2 months ago, or are we still kind of in the same spot?
Nah, no. I think we're still there. I think we're
teams. It seems like we're just like, there's still like, I don't know, 6 to 8 good teams, and I don't know who's who.
District finals are going to be awesome. Like, because I don't know. I still believe in Papillion. Like, I think Papio High is still one that could like make some noise here down the stretch. Like
no one's going to want to see a Papillion La Vista school in their district.
Papio South is, you want to talk about a team on a heater. Papio South is very hot right now. Like they got some stuff figured out. Like I talked about on prep post-game podcasts. They beat like 5 teams that you're like, oh, okay. Like Bellevue West is one of those they beat. I don't know off the top of my head, but Papio South is moving very much so in the right direction. And Papio High is another team. I mean, all of the Lincoln teams, even Lincoln High, like dangerous enough, right? So we only talk about Southwest and North Star. Well, Southeast, Lincoln High, Lincoln East smacked Westview the other night on Tuesday, like by a lot.
Westview's uber competitive too.
Right. Yeah. So that's a thing. Okay, I just see this comment. Put some respect on Deschler and D251. They're asking me about Class A basketball right now, not D2.
Hey, you want to talk? Alma's being disrespected in C2. You want to get small town ball with it? We can. FKC, big championship games on Saturday at UNK.
Yeah.
Good.
So anyway, yeah, So
to your point though about Papio South,
yes, Papio South, Papio,
or
all
they
of that.
North, but then they beat Westside, they beat Westview, they beat Bellevue West, they beat Central. Like they've got their resumes getting put together.
Their top 10, those are all like top 10-ish wins. So
yeah.
And the Lincoln schools are like that's what I think. Like if I had to pick two teams in the Class A final right now today, I am going to stick with what I said at the very beginning of the year before the season started. West Side, North Star, but could be another 6 teams.
Yeah.
That's what I've said all year long. I do believe in West Side because their size is just so different.
Yeah, it's hard to deal with, right? I mean, it's something that a lot of other teams don't have to face.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What did we? So last week we had I know we talked a little bit about Ogallala, and they had a big matchup with McCook, and that turned out to be just like is Ogallala just that good? Like what happened there?
Yes, Ogallala is just that good.
Okay.
You keep talking like you know Bison ball. You know Bison?
Listen, I'm just fascinated. They're undefeated. I thought McCook was going to be a little bit better matchup, but they waxed them.
And Mike, we talked Class B game of the year, Norris Scott.
Yeah.
Oops. That's the state championship preview.
Yeah, Ashland Greenwood McCook is the Heartland Hoops Classic. It's the middle or end of the day.
Down with me. You should go.
Where are we going?
Green Island.
What day is that?
Saturday? Valentine's Day.
I'm sure the wife will love that. Yeah.
Hey,
Class C1 ball.
I've that thing. Obviously, every 7 years is on Valentine's Day, and I have spent a couple, well, 2, I guess, Valentine's Days in Grand Island, from leaving at 6 in the morning or whatever to get there for the 9 a.m. game to getting home at 2 in the morning on Valentine's Day. So sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, Ravi.
Is that going to be an all-dayer for you?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna pick and choose my battles. I think I'll go like because JP is going to cover all the Class A games at the end.
I'm going to be honest. If you're leaving at 6 a.m., I'm not going.
No, I'll be there. Hold on. I got it lined up right here. I'm going to be there I'm leaving in the morning, so you're not going to want to go.
How early?
I'm going to be there for Archbishop Bergen, or Bergen Catholic, sorry.
How dare you?
Our Fremont fans.
How dare you?
And Donovan Trouble, they tip off at 11:50 a.m.
Ooh.
You already just say no. Just say no. Stop pretending like you're gonna choose.
We'll discuss.
Don't waffle.
We'll discuss.
No.
I'm
Flip that thing and say no.
More of a pancake guy
That's
myself.
Fine. Hey, Mike.
You should go ahead.
You go ahead. I was just gonna ask you state duels after.
No, go ahead. No, you're fine.
State duels. Creighton Prep, obviously, kind of the favorite. They are the 4, right? And they're
the 4 seed, but they're clearly the favorite.
Any of the other classes you're kind of keeping an eye on for state duels? Is there anything that can kind of state duels is unique because it's not like the state championships we'll get here in the couple weeks because of just the format and how it relies on the team points and everything else. But is there any other teams or individuals we should be on the lookout for?
Prep Grand Island is potentially the semifinal in A, which I think Prep's clearly the best team in Class A. Class B, interesting. You could get a Scott Bennington kind of rematch. They dueled earlier this year. C is the most wide open. Battle Creek. Pierce has been very good. Battle Creek's also another team in there, and they've obviously are like 17 miles apart. I think the number is exactly 17. So that's a rivalry thing.
Think it's 17.
And then D would be, I think, Aquinas and Aquinas is a team in D to obviously look out for. And I don't know why I can't think of the other one right now, off the top of my head. Why can't I do this? State duels, Carney, coming up this weekend. Millard South head coach Nate Olson, his wife is having a baby like today. So we'll see if he's actually there tomorrow.
That's big.
Yeah. So that's
right. Last one. Does a Sam Darnold Super Bowl win count as like a quarter championship for the Jets?
100% go Hawks. Fuck the Patriots.
Whoa!
Wow, living vicariously through like 2 times removed Sam Darnold.
If people know me,
you hate the Patriots, yeah.
Yeah, my disdain for the Patriots is very high.
It has nothing to do with Sam Darnold.
This is all like Asha.
This is all Patriots.
Oh, Rico, Patriot fan. Get out of here. Also, shirt of the day. Mayhay, Lob Village, Maywood Hayes Center. Just saying. All right. Have a great day.
All right. We'll talk to you later. That's Mike.
All right, bye, Mike. See you later.
Okay. Somebody take him out of the stream. Anybody take him? There we go.
Well, he just wanted to drop 308 knowledge and then just go from Jets to Mayhay.
Mayhay, Lob Village.
You have no idea where Maywood or Hayes Center is.
No. Let's Google them right now.
But you are open and willing. Well, hey, I'll give you this. I'll take you to Grand Island to Heartland Hoops.
Okay.
I will go watch and cover the high school basketball games.
Okay.
You can go across the street to the connected Heartland Hoops or the Heartland Event Center Casino in Grand Island.
Oh, so we're out by McCook for Hay Center.
Yeah, Maywood Hay Center.
Yeah. Yeah, that's out there. That's a good trip.
You love McCook though.
I've been to McCook. I know a lot of people from McCook.
Like John Madden?
Nope. No, I know a lot of people from McCook. The guy that I coached under in college.
Oh, this is a Grace College thing, yeah.
There's a ton of really good ball players from Grace.
Ravi Lulla for one.
Joel Heiser was out at McCook for a long time. He coached all the guys that I know out there. Shout out to one of the best Christian college basketball players I've ever seen in my life, Paul Putz. He was from McCook. I called him Christian College Larry Bird. My man was a bucket.
Wow.
Just got to wherever he wanted on the floor. He's one of those guys. He was like 6'4". He was a good sized kid, but he was like very unassuming. But he just kind of like somehow you're like, why? How is he at wherever he wants to be on the floor at all times? Yeah. Like he wasn't gonna blow by you. It was just like, and he's exactly where he wants to be. It was infuriating.
Sneaky athleticism.
It wasn't even like it was sneaky. Just like he would just appear and be exactly in the spot on the floor where he wanted to shoot the ball from. It was wild. And you're like, I don't know how you got there. Like he wouldn't even like put a move on somebody. He would just kind of like dribble and they'd be there. And you're like, how did we let this happen again? But it happened to everybody for like 3 years. So I didn't feel bad about it after a certain point.
As long as it happens to other people, then it's not as
bad,
it's
like, is this a me problem? No, it's happening to everybody.
Because like when I get like athletic superiority over somebody, they're like, I can't let that happen again. that cannot be the case.
No, Paul Putz was a bucket. Now he's a scholar down at Baylor.
Whoa.
Yeah, he runs his own like college.
Putz is a good last name.
He's a great ball player. Yeah. His little brother, I used to play with his little brother Joel a lot too.
Oh,
Joel Putz.
Joel Putz.
Yeah.
Putz. That's a good name.
No, there's a lot of McCook's,
Putz for three
family in the Grace University, Nebraska Christian College realm. There's a lot of them.
Well, I'll drop you off in McCook, and I can go to Heartland Hoops.
Well, isn't McCook a little further?
Oh, it's way far away.
Where you're going?
Yeah,
why are you dropping me off at McCook?
Just to see if you'd survive. See how long you could make it.
I haven't been to McCook in about 20 years.
Whoa.
Since Willie, that was the guy I coached under, since his wedding.
Was the Walmart open then?
I don't remember. I think there was a Walmart there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then you'll just use your North Star to get to the Walmart, and you'll be like,
find
I'm
the
home.
Walmart, be good to go.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can guarantee not much has changed in McCook in 20 years.
I'll be honest, I
got internet.
Love my weekend in McCook. It was fine.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
There wasn't a lot to do.
My brother got married in Broken Bow, which I have a lot of family that lives there,
Yeah.
so I'm used to being in Broken Bow, but it was very odd being there for 2 days when I'm not like doing family activities, because then it's like, what do we do the night before? I guess we go to the bar and we just drink $2 Coors Lights. Sounds good.
Listen, there's worse things.
Pretty much the only thing I can do here.
Yeah, there wasn't. We were there. I think I was there like 3 full days, which was a lot.
That's a long
Yeah,
time.
well, because you had like the rehearsal, and there was a lot. You know.
Yeah. And also, that's one of those that if you're not super committed to getting home, like if you have other people that are like riding with you, or like you're like, hey, we like carpooled or whatever, and everyone's like, oh, I like to sleep on Sunday. I'm like, no, I'm getting out of here. Like I am 7 a.m. I'm driving. So if you're not in the car, I'm leaving.
Yeah, no, we left the night of the wedding.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Bad guy. Shouldn't have done that.
No, we
always stay.
We had sober drivers.
Okay. I was just gonna say, you just stay, and just that way you can hang out with your friends longer.
No, well, they were ready to go.
Oh, okay.
There was a group of us that had traveled from Omaha, so we traveled back together, and
quite a caravan.
Yeah, it was. That was a while ago. I was like,
that was
20 years ago now, almost exactly.
Yeah.
Back in the day. That's the last time I've been to McCook.
I just love hearing from Sautter, where he's like, well, I don't have a lot going on, but I do. And that town's definitely it might be 17 miles away. It's 17. Like I know you know.
Yeah.
Just say that you know.
If you don't know, you'd be like, I don't know. It's like maybe about 20.
Yeah, right. Like
something
like you saying like, oh, I don't remember what year it is. It's about 20 years ago. So it's like, okay, yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I know it's about 2 decades.
As I was telling the story, I was like, okay, it was 2006. So I figured out it was.
There you go.
But I knew it was about 20 years ago when I started.
But Sautter for sure knew
that
those two towns are 17 miles apart from each other. Oh, I don't know. Let me look it up. Let me fact check this.
I like how Evan chimes in for the first time today. $2 Coors sounds incredible.
Tell you, man.
Evan's all in.
But it's cash only. And there's definitely like multiple old dogs in that bar too that are like they're more regulars than the regulars.
Like actual dogs?
Yeah.
Oh, listen, you had $2 beers and dogs. I'm in.
Yeah. But you got to remember these are work dogs.
That's all right. All dogs love me.
Okay.
I'll take my chances with a coyote if I have to.
Coyote.
Yeah, I think there's. Yeah, I'll take my chances with any dog.
Evan, that's the first comment he has all day.
Yes, that's the first comment he's had like a week.
9:34.
It's the first.
Take your chance with Dan Cody.
Dan Coyote.
Yeah,
I would.
Coyote Hunter.
Coyote Hunter.
No, Evan. No, Evan can make a friend anywhere. He's that type of guy. He'll just walk into anywhere, any place. He'll make a friend.
Is it the religious part of him?
No, I think it's just the friendly part of him.
That's a good point.
Just a good guy.
That's a good point.
Better. I told DB when he met him, I was like, "You're gonna like him more than me. He's a good guy."
And
he's.
Are you hard to love? You're like the Lil Wayne song.
I think I'm
Carter 4
for a specific type of person. Not much like Nebraska's old slogan. Not for everybody.
I do miss that. We need to bring that back. That was a good phrase.
I do appreciate it. It's like, yeah, you're right. Like, but for the people that it's for, they're all in.
We should probably just apply it to Omaha. It's probably more Omaha based.
That's how I feel. I thought it was the full slogan of the state, but it might have just been Omaha.
No, it's for the state, but I think it applies more just Omaha.
You think so?
I've been to every inch of the state. I feel like it applies more to Omaha.
That it's not for everybody?
Omaha's not for everyone.
I think the whole state. I mean, I think that's everywhere though. Like
that's probably
not
fair.
for everyone.
I mean, you wouldn't like to spend 3 days in Sydney, would you?
Not by myself. Like I don't know what to do.
Well, 3 days to do everything in Sydney is too many days. So you really just need like
about twice as long as you need.
You need probably 14 hours at most, and that's without travel time.
Okay.
And that's including like the walk on the trail. So that's like an hour itself.
Definitely not doing the walk on the trail.
Well, then you're not going to do everything in Sydney.
I'm not.
You don't want to walk on the Deadwood Trail.
I'm not
Sydney.
I'm not a hiker.
It's not a hike. It's a trail.
Yeah.
You're worried about the elevation in Sydney?
No, I just don't hike.
It's not a hike. It's a walk.
If it's on a trail and it's
you have dogs, you don't walk.
No, I walk my dogs in my neighborhood. That's not a hike.
Some of these hills, I'll tell you what, they might be a hike.
What's that?
Some of these hills in Omaha, they might be a hike.
There are a couple big hills in my neighborhood, but it's not like there's not like nature around.
You have the rolling hills.
Yeah, rolling hills. It's all right. Let's take a quick break here.
All right.
Evan said it's definitely not my religious side. I think it's his $2 Coors side. That's the side people like.
That's the side people like.
They're
That's
like,
fair. That's
you know
fair.
what? I can ride with that guy.
Can you get those in Sydney? $2 Coors.
I'll get back to you. I'll let you know. I'm gonna do some investigative research.
Then you won't have to do a walk like that.
Yeah. Then we can just
drop me off at the bar and then you do your walk and come back.
Sorry, my dog likes to walk. My bad.
Ava can hang out with me in the bar.
I just said she likes to walk. She'd want to hang out with you. She likes you way more than me.
She would want to hang out with me.
Dumb as hell.
Let's do a little NFL Super Bowl prop bets coming up next. It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook and Casino.
Yeah, night before was tough. I think during the night, I think I threw up about 15 times. So I couldn't hold anything down. No water, no food, no nothing. During the day, just try and feel as good as possible. I think they gave me 2 IVs before the game to just get some sort of fluids in me, but couldn't even hold that down. Try and go out there and warm up, but there was nothing in the tank. So wanted to play really bad, but if there's nothing in the tank, then I also don't want to hurt the team by being out there. So just made the decision that it wasn't responsible to go out there.
I was joking because when we were watching film the other day, I found a clip where Neely actually screened for Nora in a game. I think it was the Georgetown game, and I said to Nora, in front of the team, I said, Nora, did that happen in 4 years at Northwest? Did Neely ever screen for you? But you see the way Neely shoots it, and you better screen for her. And I said in the pregame, one of the things that makes her so lethal, I think, is just she can shoot it off the move. Like, she can come off, Kennedy and Neely are probably our 2 best shooters, but just the ability of Neely to catch it on the move and get it up as quickly as she can, I think is pretty rare. And so, it was fun to watch.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook and Casino, the best place in Nebraska to place your sports bets. You're going to have to drive to place those bets anyway. Don't cross the river.
No.
Don't betray your state.
No.
Don't betray your brethren, your people. Keep your money right here on the right side of the river.
Yeah.
Which is technically, if you're looking at a map, the left side of the river, but that's okay. Keep your money in Nebraska.
Except for Carter Lake.
Well, yeah, we don't count that. That's
the bad place. That's the bad place.
You know when Simba's talking to Mufasa and he's like, "Look at everything that the light touches is ours."
Yep.
That's how Nebraska is. Everything this side of the Missouri River is ours. And then Simba goes, "What about that shadowy place over there?" And he goes,
"That's Carter Lake.
You must never go there, Simba." That's Carter Lake. That's the shadowy place. We must never go there. I'm just kidding. Carter Lake is there's a nice golf course on Carter Lake.
Okay, good
Shoreline.
Good
golf course over there.
Yeah, I've been there. It's good.
Yeah, it's quality golf
very
course.
Nice.
No shade to Carter Lake whatsoever. Just Iowa in general. Stay away.
Yeah.
Unless you're a listener there, and then we love you. Make sure you go to Warhorse Sportsbook and Casino. They've got the sportsbook. They've got the Ale House. And, of course, maybe you get there a little early to place your bets. You're like, I should go play some table games. Great place to do that as well. Austin.
Yeah?
You want to get to some prop bets? We'll get to our winner later.
Okay. I was going to ask, in which order do you want to do this? Because I
want to do winner last.
Super Bowl prop bets are some of my favorites.
They're terrific.
Yeah. So I usually have a tradition.
Okay. Please explain.
I'll always do tails for the coin flip.
Okay. Tails never fails, or what?
Yeah, that's kind of, unless it's windy, which I'd never check. So, I mean, and then I'll always do orange Gatorade.
Okay. So I've got a prop bet sheet here.
Okay. I'm ready.
It is, to give all credit, this is from Sports Illustrated.
Thank you, Sports.
We will do, thank you, Illustrated. We will do the game spread and the over-under last.
Okay.
Because those are more like real bets.
Right.
National anthem, over-under, 119 and a half seconds. That's just under 2 minutes.
Who's the singer? Do we know?
I'm sure we do know. I don't personally know.
I got it right here. Come on, AI. Charlie Puth. I know it's Puth. Charlie Puth. Jeez. I'm going to go over. He's a vocalist.
I feel like he's going to drag it out.
Yeah, I feel like he'll drag it out too. But that line is always very close.
Right on.
Yeah.
It's right
I'm going to go over. And also, I like a performative national anthem. I'm not going anywhere. I like it when they go hard for it.
When it's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna.
Oh, you're not a fan of the Fergie national anthem?
I'm just saying, if you're gonna go for it, you better nail it.
Yeah, you better.
Like you can't be performative and flop. Like you got to get it.
The last one that everyone I think agreed upon that said the national anthem was like everyone said very great was Stapleton's, right? From the first Eagles.
Okay,
Chiefs.
sure. Yeah.
And then obviously you go back, you do like the Whitney Houston and all that other one. So
my personal favorite, this wasn't the Super Bowl, but Carl Lewis. It was at a basketball game, and I think it was, I don't remember who was playing. I think, Shane, you've got some of the audio, don't you? That's
Oh, yeah, probably somewhere.
He's like singing it, and he goes, and the Rockets, right there, and he goes, uh-oh. It's a classic.
That's incredible.
It's one of the best.
You've seen the one that happened last year?
Yeah,
I can't remember who it was, but it was for some like, I don't know, convention voting or something like that. And she goes, "Oh, I messed up. Can I start over?
All right, so we're both going over on the national anthem.
Yep.
You're going tails. I'll go heads, just to be different here.
Wow, cool.
First offensive play, runner or pass?
Ooh, I remember that I had. I remember I had this one for the Seattle Broncos Super Bowl, and I was like a 9th grader. And it was just, you get the prop shoot, friends you dollars or whatever. And I remember, I think I picked run, and we couldn't determine how that went because it was a safety.
Well, I mean, a safety is a run play, technically.
Is it? Okay.
Well, was it a sack?
Well, Noshawn Marino fell on the ball.
Oh, so that's a run. Yeah, that's a run.
Okay, so it was a run?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
I don't remember what the play was. Yeah.
It's a run. It's 100% a run.
I agree.
You were betting on the Super Bowl in 9th grade?
Yeah, we just had the prop sheet. We were just putting dollars down.
Yeah, we used to do that in school, too. We'd be like, hey, what do you think?
Just dollars.
We didn't do dollars. We would just do it, we'd do it for, like, extra credit or something in class. Whoever got the best one, you'd get, a little bit of points or whatever.
The Millard North lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. Millard North Middle is where I learned to gamble.
In the corral?
Stable. No, my principal and I would bet candy bars against each other.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's a great.
That's where I learned,
especially for a kid with diabetes. That's even funnier.
That's where. Well, he's like, in case you have a low blood sugar, it comes in handy, and it did. Multiple times.
what if he won all of them and took all your candy bars? He goes, oh, guess you're SOL today.
He didn't
buddy.
win a single one.
Oh, whoa!
So here was the best part. So this was 1999. So I'm in like 7th grade, I think, and it was. He knew I liked Florida State. And so he goes, hey, I'll, and he taught me about spreads. He's like, they can't just win. They have to win by this amount.
Right.
And I think Florida State covered every game that we bet on that year. So there was like 3 or 4. They went undefeated and won the national title, right? So it's bad year for him to pick.
Yeah.
On the kid that liked Florida State. But
he must have thought you were like some savant too. He was just like, oh my God. He would go home and be like, this kid is crazy good.
Running me out of candy bars.
Halfway through the year, your teacher announces he's like retiring because he's like, I'm just riding Ravi. Like I'm just going with whatever he says.
We're fading the principal. Just fading. But no, so the first time I got called down to the principal's office and you're always like, oh crap, what did I do? And he's like, he just hands me the candy bar. He's like, here you go. And that became our little tradition every few weeks.
Yeah, good stuff.
Shout out Dr. Bart. I hope he's doing well. May passing yards, or excuse me, let's do first team to score first.
Okay, first team to score. I'll go Seattle.
I'll go Patriots there.
All right,
I'll go Patriots.
Okay.
May passing yards, 221 and a half.
221 I'm going to go under.
Under 221 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I'm going to go over.
I think it's a defensive game. And if the Patriots win, they can win close. And maybe he just gets like a late drive. But 220, I'm going to go under.
Darnold passing yards, 228 and a half.
I'll go under again.
I'm going under
there.
I am going under there.
Although Vinny made the point earlier that the Patriots run defense is pretty good. So I guess if they feel like they have to throw the ball, they'll have to go out. But yeah,
I don't think they want to try and put it on Darnold's arm.
I agree.
Though. I think they're going to try and ride Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
All right. So you get to choose one of these. Do you want Diggs receiving yards, JSN receiving yards, or Cooper Kupp receiving yards?
I'm going JSN 100%.
He's got a high number.
Is it 96?
It is 94 and a half is what I've got.
I'm
going over 94 and a half.
Yep.
That's a big number.
It is.
I'm going to take Stephon Diggs over 43 and a half.
I like that. I mean, that's
a modest number.
That's one big play too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's one, you break a tackle or you're left alone in coverage. Like that for sure can happen.
The other one, Kupp, is 31 and a half.
That's a good number.
I know. I thought about that one.
I mean, that's 3 catches, a little over his average,
which
right?
is kind of what he does, like in that intermediate range. So Kupp was very tempting there. Stevenson rushing yards or Walker rushing yards? Walker's at 75 and a half.
Well, I guess if I'm taking the Darnold under, I have to take the Walker over, right?
I think so,
that
yeah.
just has to make sense.
Unless the Seahawks just don't score very much.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson's at 50 and a half. But he's probably going to split a little time.
Yeah, I'd probably take him over too. If I'm going under in both quarterback passing,
you probably
then
need to
have
go
to go over. On both
I think
backs.
on that one, I think I'm going to go. I took under on Darnold. I should probably go over on Walker.
Yeah.
We'll go over on Walker. All right. Longest touchdown, Seahawks or Patriots?
Seahawks, JSN. Go double down on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go Patriots and double down on my Diggs.
Okay.
Longest field goal.
Ooh,
Seahawks or Patriots?
Interesting. I like the Patriots in that one. I think I'll take the Patriots.
Okay. Last touchdown. Who scores the last touchdown?
Seattle.
I'm going Patriots on that
one.
Total turnovers. Total turnovers over or under 2.5.
Total turnovers. I'm going to go over. I think that there are 2 interceptions by a quarterback in the game.
And then something else?
Yep. And then a fumble or something.
I'm going to go under. Gatorade bath, clear water, or orange.
Always orange.
And then the field.
Oh, the field is in like...
Yeah, you get the entire field.
No, I'm going orange.
All right, I'm taking the field.
Yeah.
Super Bowl MVP, quarterback or any other?
Quarterback. Even if it's under, if
you're going under and you've got JSN going wild.
Oh, you're right. Damn it, you're right.
And I feel like JSN has
it would have to be JSN. And he's got
the reputation.
Yeah, he's got the name to him.
Yes.
It wouldn't be a surprise. He's going to be highlighted so much that if he gets to 90 receiving yards and has a score, they're probably going to give it to him.
If it's a quarterback, I think it's Drake May.
I agree.
If it's not a quarterback, I don't think Sam Darnold wins the MVP. I don't think that is. Yeah. Even if Seattle wins, I don't think he wins the MVP. Yeah. I think it's either like a Jackson Smith and Jigba or like Kenneth Walker goes nuts, something like that. Because of that, I'm going to go other.
Okay.
I'm going to take the field there.
All right.
All right. Let's get to the actual game. Over under 45 and a half for the total.
I'm going under.
I'm going to go slightly over.
Okay.
I'm going to go slightly over. I'm looking at like a 27-21.
I just think it's going to be a fist fight of a game. Like
Yeah.
I think legitimately it could be like 17-14 and just
Okay,
like,
so you think it's like a real like old school slugfest?
Yeah.
All right.
I have a feeling like the Patriots will obviously want to keep it close because of the talent discrepancy like between the two rosters, but Seattle has the ability to control the game, and I don't think that they're going to just pour it on if they are like in control of the game. So
yeah, I just have a hard time with if most people agree quarterback head coach goes to the Patriots. I know the Seattle defense is very good. It's not like the Patriots defense is bad though. And I don't want to give away my pick here. Seattle -4.5. Where are you going?
Seattle -4.5. I think the way that I see it, I think you have to take the Patriot number.
You think Seattle wins, but
I think Seattle wins, but they
doesn't
do not
cover.
Yeah.
I think Patriots win outright here. I think Patriots win outright. I'm going to take them plus
Okay.
the 4.5. I'm not going to mess around with the money line, but I'm going to take them plus the 4.5.
I love this one. This is a plus 10,000 prop bet.
I'll say, do you have any randos you want to throw out there?
Obviously, I just took all those unders. So this is just a fun one, just to be like, hey, if all my bets don't hit, I want this one to hit. Plus 10,000, repeat of Super Bowl 49 score. Patriots 28, Seahawks 24. I love that. That's a bet. Like, could you imagine rooting for that? I want that.
What I want to happen is that they end up in almost the exact same situation, run the ball, and it still doesn't work.
It's a Walker.
Walker fumbles or something, and they're just like, no.
Oh.
And then you have 11 more years of, I should have passed it.
That would have been so funny. Well, did you see Darnold? Darnold said that. He got asked. They were like, hey, you're at the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
You have 34 seconds left, no timeouts, or one timeout or something. Are you throwing or passing? He goes, I'm a quarterback, so I'm going to throw it. And everyone was like, no, Sam.
Just imagine, like, this is playing out the way you're thinking. Jackson Smith and Jigba is going crazy.
Yep.
He is mossing people. He's got, like, 11 catches for 160 and 2 touchdowns, and they're going in, and they're like, he's our best player. We got to get him the rock.
Yep.
And they're like, nope, never again. Hand it off to Kenneth Walker. Stuffed. You lose the game. That, like, I don't really care who wins this. Like, I don't have an emotional attachment to either of these teams. That would be objectively hilarious.
Yes. No, it would be. Listen, as the a-hole that I am, I want as much chaos to go on. I'll be watching this game on my own.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Fiance, she's got an overnight shift on Sunday, so she'll be able to watch the first quarter with me, and then after that, it'll be just myself. So I'm looking forward to as much chaos as possible because I'm going to be firing off tweets like as much as I can.
Just the tweet machine.
Yeah, I might have 2 Twisted Tea lights, and we'll see where the night goes.
I mean,
crazy.
you can hang out with me if you wanted.
Okay.
We can watch Super Bowl
What
together
an
if you
invite.
wanted.
Thank you. Yeah, we can do that.
You know?
You just want me to bring Ava. I know you just want me to bring Ava.
No, I mean, we can do whatever.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
If you're like, hey, Ava's off the table, we could still hang out.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Isn't
That's
that so nice of
Yeah.
me?
What's the worst thing I could possibly bring that you'd be like, you know what? Actually, like, we got sickness in our house. Can't, like.
Like a food item?
Yeah.
Oh,
If I brought like a DiGiorno pizza, would you be like, hey, you know what?
No, I mean, listen, I'd be like, I'm probably not going to partake, but it's good for you. It's like, we have food. It's fine.
Yeah, right. My
DiGiorno,
wife's a chef. Like, I don't know if you knew that.
Honestly, if you would have brought like Totino's, I'd be like, you're the man.
Respect, yeah.
But just not a huge fan of DiGiorno in general. No, I don't like. I'm trying to think. If you brought nachos that were like covered in black olives, I'd be
Ooh,
like, ugh.
Good pull.
I hate black olives.
Yeah, that's fair.
Aggressively hate. Or if it's just like
good month to choose that.
Way more. If it's just like covered in like sour cream or something.
I'm anti sour cream.
I am too.
The amount of people who are putting sour cream on stuff
Stop
is nuts.
It's gross. I don't like sour
I know
cream.
you're anti Greek yogurt too. I just gotten over the taste. It doesn't matter.
I don't like Greek yogurt. I don't like sour cream. I don't like mayo. It's a texture thing.
Yeah.
Those are all kind of in the same
The
neighborhood.
smell of mayo also gets me sometimes.
Smell of mayo. Smell of sour cream's not great either.
No.
And let's be honest, Greek yogurt also not ideal.
And also outside of sour Skittles, how many times do you grab something that's specifically called sour and you're like, great.
I have the same question about people that are on their weird sourdough kicks. I'm looking at you, Sasha. She just started a sourdough starter.
Yeah, which is,
And
we're just not going to see her for a while.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't understand. Like,
those things are aliens. I don't like that thing in my house.
no, it's living organisms, and I'm not a fan of like it just growing in a jar. That's odd.
Like, I'm going to be like parent of a high school daughter where I'm going to be like, I don't want that in my house.
Yeah,
Get out.
like you don't bring that in my house.
No.
Not under my roof.
No.
Also,
well,
it's a lot of work. It seems like
yes,
for like a pretty mediocre bread.
Yeah, We got a bread maker.
Yeah.
I'll make that. It just makes like a regular white loaf. I can make like some cinnamon, all that sort of stuff, like different types of bread, that sort of thing. I don't need a sourdough if it's going to cause that much anxiety in my home. Did I feed it today? Oh,
yeah,
my God.
like you have to feed your own food. Like, what are we talking about here?
I agree.
Although that is what you do with animals.
So if you guys,
well, I don't feed my dog to eat her.
No, yeah, in your home, you don't have to feed the.
We do feed animals to then eat them.
Evan says. He knows he's a real ball knower. He says bring the pizzazz. That's the best way to cook a frozen pizza.
Oh, the pizzazz.
Have you seen a pizza pizzazz?
I've never seen. Is that the circle one?
Yeah, it's the rotary one.
Really?
Oh yeah, I've got.
I didn't even know they still made those.
I don't know if they still do, but I have one.
So if you guys are hanging out for the Super Bowl, can we get a Ravi cast during the game?
That'd be funny.
We could do we might do a little halftime show.
That'd be sick. That'd be sicko mode.
What's up?
Yeah.
Ravi and Austin here.
And Shadow?
What's up, Ava? Yeah. Shadow, yeah, Shadow would love Ava. Doug loves Friends. He just likes to, And then Rogge is kind of indifferent towards most things. He's just kind of out there.
Did you play Avery there?
I think that was Avery, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
Because I said Ava?
Mm-hmm. Different person.
Yeah.
Not the same.
I don't know. Their personalities aren't the same.
No. Ava's personality, who has the closest personality to Ava in the office? That's a good question.
Not me.
No.
Definitely not me.
I felt like it was Branch.
Yeah, they were pretty much the same. Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Golden Retriever energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just mellow Golden Retriever energy.
That's Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse.
What a win!
And Casino. We appreciate everybody's time here today. Also, can't wait to talk about the Super Bowl on Monday with DB. We will have Daniel says you might want to get rid of your cheese if you don't want to have. I don't have to feed my cheese, Daniel.
That's the truth. I'm not feeding the cheese. Cut it. I might. Different.
Probably.
Yeah. I'd be cutting the cheese at home.
I'm sure you do.
What the hell, man? What's that mean? Is there a secret in the office I don't know about? Oh, Austin smells.
No.
That guy's farting in his office. I'm going to start that rumor now. No one's in office today. I'm going to start that. I'm going to walk into everyone's
those
office.
$2 Coors Lights, that's what it's doing it.
Yeah, me.
You do be farting.
I do be quick with it.
That is the show for today. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.